Oh. Oh, whoops. I probably shouldn't have had that up on screen. That was totally accidental. Anyway. Alright, we're going to give it a minute here for people to roll in. Welcome to part 2 of Belle Aubrey's ridiculous, weird fascination with Eugenia Cooney. Yeah, so... Oh, hey, look at that. Corbino is in here already. What's up? John, welcome back. Yeah, right? You know what's funny? It actually... It reminds me of something. Let me find this picture. Let me find this picture. Anyway, how's everybody doing tonight? Okay, it's a good thing that it's not visible on screen because I can't find the video I'm looking for, and it was a porn meme. And so far, all I'm seeing is actual porn clips here and not the actual picture I'm looking for. It was a famous meme of this girl that picks up another chick and just holds her against the wall. And I can't find it now. Instead, it's just actual, like, redhead porn that's showing up. Disappointing. Sort of. Anyway. Yeah, but that's the, I wish I had that back up because now people are rolling in. They're just hearing me talking about redhead porn. All right, where's the picture of Augie and Bo Black? Oh, yeah, there's fan art of it now, by the way. There's fan art of it. Look how ripped they made Bo Black's bicep. It's funny. Love it. Anyway, pretty fine working on Plants of Dead Space. Nice. All right, so I'm probably gonna try and keep this to like 2 hours. I said last time I was gonna try and keep it to 2 hours. Ended up being 3, but these videos are shorter than the other ones. Willie's alone is only 18 minutes, and Belle's, I believe, is after she edited it, it's only 20 minutes. So they're both shorter. But yes, let's go. I'll go ahead and pop these open for now. And then we'll get right into it. So I will say right off the bat, a lot has happened since my last stream. The last stream is when I mentioned that there was some information about the alleged 16-year-old person that was being harassed and groomed, and supposedly Eugenia Cooney and her people were not taking care of it. They were not handling it. Well, it wasn't exactly true. Belle Aubrey said that she had proof that it was true, and then we saw proof that there wasn't, that has not been released and will not be released unless it's necessary. Long story short, as far as I know, Belle Aubrey will not be putting out her video anymore, where she was going to show the receipts because the receipts were incomplete, and we had the rest of the receipts. We being Tipster. Yeah, so Tipster reached out and resolved the situation. He didn't want to... He made the right move. He made the right call. He reached out, despite everything going on, he reached out and resolved it, I believe. At least that's my understanding of what happened. Because there was some private information in there that if it was released, people would not have been happy. People like didn't want to be a part of anything or whatever. So for everybody's privacy, I think they did the right thing, and they didn't like make a big deal out of it. Actually, no, I forgot to put this in the. That's the wrong one. All right. Anyway. Okay, let me just put the link to the stream in the server real quick. I was not as prepared this time as I thought I was. It's all good. I'm gonna send this. I thought I was set up, and then apparently I wasn't as set up as I thought. And then I went to hit go live, and then it reset my my settings for the stream. So anyway, Balin. Yeah, so tonight, just gonna watch Willie's video. I'm gonna watch the rest of this ad. Well, the rest of the ads, rather. Gonna watch the rest of this video. Rest of? We didn't start this one yet. I'm all over the place. Gonna watch this video. Sorry, I'm a little thrown off. Tonight's the first night that Wes isn't here, so I'm a little in a weird place, but I need to get out of my head and do stuff, so. All right, here we go. So, this is his response to the original video she made. We'll probably like look up some stuff on Twitter and things like that throughout if something comes up that reminds me of something that I didn't grab already.
Hey guys, #1 T channel here, and my god, for 30,000 views, we had a hell of an impact. We put thousands of eyes.
That line alone gets taken so out of context later. It's hilarious.
On a situation that's been reported wrong for nearly a year now. Eugenia Cooney was given a much needed voice. She even thanked us.
I did see the Willie Mac video that he made about me, and honestly, I thought it was a really, really good video. I just really...
Can we talk about why Eugenia Cooney has a Christmas tree up in like September, early October? Of all the things they're canceling her for, they're not canceling her for being like, I don't know, way too early to the season or whatever.
Appreciate the fact that like there's someone out there.
I mean, I guess it's Halloween themed too because she's got the Jack Skellington or whatever his name is.
That will look at things
fair.
from like a different stance and not just kind of blindly listen to so many lies that have been made out about me by like some of these like teen channels and just some of these really false narratives that get so presented as like facts. And you know, I just thought he did a really, really good job just kind of like showing things in such a more like accurate, like truthful way.
Eugenia Cooney is referring to conspiracies and lies.
Yep, we're back for round 2, Rocky. We're back for round 2 because this is the last leg of this ride. This is the last leg of this ride, and I really kind of wanna go ahead and just finish this up. I mean, she did describe this guy's house. I might even go back and do the EDP stuff since I'm gonna do an EDP video at some point. I do like doing these like. If I have something long enough to make it worth watching, the whole
that
thing
creators
and talk
like
about
Pastel
most of
Belle
it.
have pushed. These conspiracies range from framing her parents as abusive to the color of her underwear and even...
By the way, that's one of the things I love about all this. Like, the one dude, Sloan, called her dad a creep, and he's never been on camera as far as I can find. I haven't, like, done a whole lot of digging, but not one of these channels has shown images or videos of either of the parents. So it's weird when they've never been on camera, they talk about how, like, manipulative they are and like how much they know about them without ever actually showing them on camera or anything.
Even though Belle admits she doesn't know Eugenia personally.
And I'm not trying to make it seem like I'm an expert or I know Eugenia, because I don't. She's a stranger online that I have never met.
It doesn't stop her from claiming things as fact when the evidence provided is unsubstantial at best. She takes a positive caption on one of Eugenia's photos and twists it in the worst way possible.
Attached to this photo, she has a caption that says, "What you think about yourself is more important than what others think of you." So in this photo, it seems like on the surface, it's about like positivity and self-love and self-care and things like that, which are great and wonderful things. However, I have a hard time believing that this caption is about loving yourself and wanting to take care of yourself, because clearly she is not taking care of herself.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Eugenia Cooney can't even write a positive message without Belle villainizing her.
Despite
She can't possibly be talking about self-love and loving herself because she's anorexic. Okay. All right. Sure, Belle. Sure, Belle. Okay. Isn't the whole thing with body positivity supposed to be like not shaming people for that kind of thing? Seems like you're kind of going the other way on that one, huh?
the facade of doing makeup tutorials, cosplay, and clothing haul videos,
She calls it a
what Eugenia
facade.
Cooney is really pushing is thinspo and a very dangerous pro-Anna agenda that is actively harming not just herself, but vulnerable young fans in her community. Eugenia Cooney is 100% doing this. You can see it in her thumbnails, you can see it in her Instagram posts, you can see it in the Twitter posts, you can see it pretty much everywhere that she posts online.
She's 100% doing that. 100%. Are we sure about that? Belle, your only evidence is Eugenia writing a positive message on Twitter and thumbnails where you add a giant red arrow pointing towards her as if that proves anything. Belle, she makes videos on clothing and fashion. You could do this to anybody who makes that kind of content. When I call Belle out for these ridiculous conspiracies,
By the way, this whole thing kind of reminds me of the video I made about how Twitter's not that toxic or whatever a while back, where like how like social media platforms themselves can't be toxic. Social media platforms are like a book. A book can't be racist until you write racist things in it. A book can't be hateful unless you put hateful stuff in it. Social media is the same way. If you are using social media and you're not controlling what you need to see or what you're going to see, if you're not controlling it and taking control of that situation, taking control of your life through social media, that's on you. You can't blame Instagram because they showed you too many models that don't look like you. You can't blame Instagram for that. If you're looking up models, if you're interacting with those posts, they're like, oh, this is what they like to interact with. This is like the stuff they like to see. Okay. So we're going to give them more of this. They're giving you the content you're looking for. That's not their fault. That's your fault because you're the one feeding that algorithm telling you what you want.
it was not surprising, much like Angelica Oles before her, to see her double down without addressing any of the criticisms made towards her. And to top it all off, she starts making up conspiracies about me. She thinks I'm getting paid by Eugenia's mom or something.
Like, if I didn't know any better, I would have thought this creator was getting paid to do this because of the amount of vitriol that he had towards me in the video.
Oh, this video is so salt. I am very excited.
The amount of vitriol he had in the video for her. What vitriol? Like, all right, let's look up vitriol real quick. I'm curious. What is the definition of vitriol? I'm very curious. Cruel and bitter criticism. Wait! Wait a minute! Wait! But even the definition implies that it's like valid criticism. It actually is the actual definition. Criticism. But she's acting like it's not valid. She's acting like it's not valid. It's vitriol. It's harsh, caustic language criticism. Oh, bitterly harsh or caustic language or criticism. Wait. So it doesn't just apply to... Now I'm confused. All right. I guess never mind. I guess it's not exactly. I guess maybe the definition varies from dictionary to dictionary. All right. Maybe. I'm not sure. Now I'm confused. But I mean, criticism is part of... Harsh criticism is part of the definition. And I don't remember him using that much caustic language against her. So, I think she actually... How dare he harshly criticize me? That was the amount of vitriol in the video. It was such a harshly critical video within reason, by the definition, that I think someone paid him to do it. That's insanity.
Her video is titled My Response and Why YouTube Agrees With Me. They definitely don't, but we'll get to that. She starts off criticizing me for not being fair to her.
That's another fun point that comes up in her video. It's absolutely asinine.
This was not an objective critique or audit as he was trying to frame it. This was literally a hit piece meant to smear me as much as he possibly could.
Does Belle show any examples for how I smeared her or how I was being dishonest? No, of course not. Just like her entire YouTube channel, she doesn't bring any receipts. My video follows a clear pattern of letting Belle give her arguments, followed by me giving my arguments. It's the only fair way to make a video on someone. You let them speak. In Belle's 30-minute response to me, I only appear in it one time, and it's to say that I hate women and hate LGBT.
Now, if you look at this clip from his video, what do you notice about every content creator on the screen right now? They're all either a woman or they're LGBT.
You can get that from this image? I'm gonna be honest, I don't know any of these people's sexual orientation. They were just the first ones that popped up when I typed in Gabby Hanna. The whole point of this slide was to show this.
Gabby Hanna's
I'm just making a goof that all the T channels are obsessed with Gabby Hanna.
So, let me get this straight. If you talk about current events on YouTube, then you're a T channel. Well, as long as you're LGBT or a woman. But if you're a straight guy, then it's just commentary, bro.
When a T channel says rotten stuff about Gabby or the commentary guys, it's okay. We could take it.
When a T channel says rotten stuff about Gabby or the commentary guys, it's okay. We could take it.
Did she just leafy me? Well played, Belle. She acts like I invented the term T channel to use as a slur. I didn't. It's how these creators describe their own content.
We're getting to the hot
I do have tits, Core. I haven't lost the tits yet. I'm still fat. So I am woman. For now. I guess.
tea.
Another tea to spill.
As a tea channel,
when spilling the tea.
Some hot tea.
This channel's name is Tea Spill. Here for the tea. What determines if you're a tea channel or not is simply who you cover. If you talk about makeup drama or Gabby Hanna or Jeffree Star, that would make you a tea channel. That's why I've been referring to myself as a tea channel since covering Gabby Hanna. Belle framing me as a woman-hating homophobe because I use the term tea channel to describe tea channels is one of the most mean-spirited bad faith arguments I've seen online. Bad faith arguments based on conspiracies is Belle's brand.
If you want,
yeah, bad faith arguments based on conspiracies is Belle's brand. That's probably the right way. That's probably the right way to describe that. It's absolutely insane how much of her stuff is conspiracy theory, but she wants to go into politics. Yeah, no, not on this channel. If I was on my main channel, I could, but yeah. What's up, Joshua? Dog, it's just insane. It's insane. She wants to go into politics. She wants to go into political content, social commentary. But almost everything she does is like amplifying everything to conspiracy levels without actually making any sense of it. Like, it's all just grasping at straws. Thanks, Nick Theorio. Okay, there we go. I was excited this year. Wait a minute. Am I crazy, or did it just say something about... I could have sworn it just said something about the Carolina Panthers, but it's not in my chat feed for... Oh, because it's not in live mode. That's why. Belle make a video about how Earth is flat by the end of 2020. I wouldn't be surprised.
I want to believe that any woman or LGBT person who comes forward and talks about serious issues is just a T channel looking for drama. That's fine.
Gabby Hanna is not a serious issue. Don't drag the LGBT community down with the sinking ship that is your argument. I criticized you, not for your sexuality, but for who you are as a person, and you have it on full display right now. This next part is hilarious.
I also find it really funny because Sloan literally uses his platform. He is brave enough to use his platform to call out some of the most prolific predators on YouTube and in Hollywood. So how dare you call Sloan and reduce his content to just being tea?
Bro, he literally cited a tarot card reading as proof that Eugenia's parents are abusive.
I do want to hear what the psychic says about the dad, because period poo, you can't change the stars.
How dare I question this guy? He seems very credible. Bella's defending...
Not only that, he himself was one of the people he showed a clip on. Yeah, no, that's why. Exactly. No, they hate the Redbeards. They're also fat phobic. YouTube is fat phobic. Clearly. That's what we're talking about here. It's okay to be fat phobic. You can't be you're not allowed to support whatever.
Sloan for something that Sloan himself knows was wrong. Since I've made my criticisms of him, he has since privated his...
Like, it takes so much courage to call out a Hollywood star that most likely never watched their vids. Exactly, right? It doesn't make any sense. The period poo is the... I agree. That part drives me
For
nuts a little
something that
too.
Sloan himself knows was wrong. Since I made my criticisms of him, he has since privated his Eugenia Cooney video. Why? Because it's embarrassing. If he's exposing real predators like you say, and meanwhile he's citing a tarot card reading as proof, it's not a good look. It hurts his credibility. Belle reverts to a lot of whataboutisms when trying to debunk my video. It's a logical fallacy used to divert the conversation to an unrelated topic. For example, I give a simple timeline of events that includes Katie Morton. Of course it does. She's a major character. Belle responds with, well, what about the BetterHelp scandal she was in? What about it? How does that...
Which, like we talked last stream, doesn't matter. BetterHelp was overhyped as some kind of scam when it wasn't. It was like everything was fine. Everything was perfectly fine. There was like a couple of minor issues that were not that big a deal. Everything else was like way blown out of proportion. Like the BetterHelp thing shouldn't have been an argument to begin with. And I mean, I'm kind of surprised Willie didn't like double down on that.
relate to the conversation? I criticize Sloan for using tarot cards to determine that Eugenia's parents are abusive. Belle
I
in
agree,
turn
Teddy.
brings
That
up
will
Sloan's
never not
other
be funny.
content that has nothing to do with Eugenia. What about it? How does it relate to the conversation? She brings up how I called D'Angelo Wallace a douchebag 2 years ago.
You literally called D'Angelo Wallace, of all people, the biggest douchebag on the internet.
What about it? How the fuck does it relate to the conversation? She'll never say because it doesn't. When I called Belle out for her terrible coverage of Eugenia Cooney for the past year, she responded with, well, you made your video too late and Willie, you followed me on Twitter.
But what I find really weird is he followed me on Twitter a few months ago, and I've had the same stance publicly this entire time.
I know I followed you to keep up with your bullshit. You are spewing it constantly.
Not only that,
Can I just say, it's hilarious to me how stupid people are that they think that you only follow someone if you like their takes and agree with them. No. I follow plenty of people I don't agree with because I'm interested in the topics they talk about. Like, they might have, like, news first and still have bad takes. I might still follow somebody because they have something interesting to say, whether it sucks or not. But if you follow somebody, oh, you must be in support of them. Why would you follow somebody you disagree with? Why would you follow somebody you disagree with? Unlike Belle, who doesn't follow somebody she disagrees with. She just stalks them around the internet, supposedly, right? Like, how many videos does she make? That was like hyperbole, by the way. Let's be clear. That was hyperbole. She makes all these videos about Eugenia over these minor things, right? But she's going to focus on the fact that, oh, Willie followed me months ago. Well, why would he follow me if he didn't disagree with me? Belle is okay with Willie using tarot cards to determine D'Angelo Wallace is a douchebag. Yeah. If only he had sourced the tarot cards as to the status of D'Angelo Wallace's douchebaggery. If only he would have asked the professionals. By the way, when I get a bunch of money together, like when I just have like a bunch of readily available money, I don't have a car problem or anything like that, I still want to take some money and get like a bunch of predictions for people that don't exist on like TikTok or wherever you can like pay for a tarot reading from people.
I've had the same stance publicly, but that I haven't been talking about Eugenia recently. My last video on her was back in August.
It's October. That's only like 2 months ago. Belle, I know it takes you only 30 minutes to make a 30-minute video, but the rest of us actually put effort and research into our shit. It takes time.
Hey, bud.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of crazy. It's crazy how she seems to think that, like, oh, he followed me 3 months ago. It's like, why did he wait 3 months to call me out? Why didn't he call me out sooner? Because we do research. People like Willie does research. We does research. We actually plan, edit. There's nothing exactly flashy or well put together about any of her videos I've seen. She wants like compare, like I think all of her responses were like the day after or 2 days after. So she did a little bit of research, maybe. Exactly. Like I said, we does research. Us does researches. If you doesn't do researches, then get out.
Knew you were doing this, I would have said something a lot sooner.
But even before that, my last video on Eugenia was back in May. I think it was May 5th specifically. So my last video on Eugenia was in August, and before that it was in May. May.
It's
It's
so
now
dumb.
October.
It's so dumb.
Oh, guys, we were too late. Belle says she's done slandering the anorexic girl. Looks like we gotta let her just get away with it. She has an entire video criticizing Shane Dawson for stuff he did over 10 years ago. I think I can hold you accountable for the narratives you pushed over the
Not only that, in her own video, she made a big deal about the fact that, like Willie said, 2 years ago he called D'Angelo Wallace a douchebag. It's entirely when it's convenient to make the argument for me, I'm gonna make it, she says.
past 9 months. Belle loves to misrepresent arguments. In her 30-minute video, I am not shown giving my argument once. So this basically allows her to make a response video where she doesn't have to respond to any of the criticisms made of her. She just reiterates the same arguments we've already debunked.
I have never, ever called for YouTube to ban people simply because they have EDs. Implying that I think all people who suffer with an ED should be banned from YouTube automatically is just not true. Like, that's just a straight up lie.
Belle, people are saying that about you because that's what your argument boils down to. So let me reiterate. Belle wants to ban Eugenia Cooney for uploading pro-anorexic content. Her evidence for this is YouTube thumbnails and inspirational quotes. When you actually look at Eugenia's content, what is it?
Oh, see, apparently her opinion is objective and Willie's is only subjective. So she's allowed to say it doesn't matter. He called D'Angelo Wallace a douchebag, and because she doesn't think he is, apparently he's not, because she's objective. Whereas Willie is only subjective. He's got a bias, unlike the anorexic girl talking about an anorexic girl's anorexic behavior. On second thought, yeah, no, I'm pretty sure that she's the biased one.
Video games, clothes, and makeup. She's doing the same thing as everyone else on this website. So what's the only difference between Eugenia and any other content creator? Well, it's that she's anorexic. That's why people are saying you want to ban her just for having an ED. Your claims are unsubstantial at best and completely fabricated at worst. And of course, since Belle never plays my video, that means she never has to address any of my arguments. She can just call me a liar.
This creator is lying to you by implying in any way, shape, or form, either directly or indirectly, that I support removing people from YouTube simply because they are sick. By that logic, since I have an ED, I would also need to be deplatformed.
Belle, that's your logic, not mine. I would never make such a stupid point. Belle, you're the one making the argument that Eugenia Cooney's pro-Anna. That means you have to prove it with evidence, which you haven't. Don't strawman me just because you got called out for having nothing. And now I want to get to the title of her video, and
It's so bad. She's so bad at this.
why YouTube agrees with me. Spoiler alert, she's just lying. She's just...
Keep in mind, remember that he acknowledged he's going like, I'm pretty sure he's going like by points she made in the video. That's why he said he would come back to this earlier in the video. Keep in mind that he stops here and then comes back to it.
making it up.
If you look at YouTube's community guidelines, you'll see that they actually agree with me. If you look at their community guidelines page, you'll see that there's a bunch of different ones, but if you scroll down, you'll see one that says harmful and dangerous content. And if you read through it, it says eating disorders. Content that praises, glorifies, or encourages viewers to imitate anorexia or other eating disorders.
As we've discussed, Eugenia's content doesn't do that, but Belle just doesn't seem to understand. If only she had a very public conversation with YouTube over this exact same thing. Oh wait, she did! Thanks for responding, Team YouTube. Hundreds of viewers have reported Eugenia Cooney's channel in the last 2 weeks alone. She violates your TOS. YouTube actually responded. Thanks for the info. Mind following her Twitter account so we can move the conversation to DMs? Belle accepted, and this is what she relayed of the conversation. YouTube just said they can't identify any TOS violations with Eugenia. Wow, it looks like you...
Keep in mind, this was under a year ago. This was December of 2020. We're not even in November of 2021 yet. This was under a year ago.
YouTube doesn't agree with you. They agree with me. Interesting how you left this out of your video. She then says, this means ad revenue is more important to YouTube than protecting their community.
YouTube said they can't identify TOS violations with Eugenia, meaning ad revenue is more important to them than protecting their community. So she's saying that YouTube is wrong. It does violate their TOS objectively. But they are specifically protecting her channel and her from losing her channel because of the ad revenue. Now, how much ad revenue do you think Eugenia Cooney makes for YouTube? I think we might have talked about this last time, but we'll talk about it again real quick, just briefly. Eugenia Cooney, according to Social Blade, makes up to 51K a year. Now, I'm told that this number is the take-home. There's another 50% approximately that goes to YouTube. 45, 50%, wherever, you know. And if she has a management team or whatever, some of that's going to go to them. And by management team, I mean like what do you call it? I can't remember what it's called. Anyway. But if this is the yearly earnings, that means that YouTube, a billion-dollar company, as Belle herself described it, a billion-dollar company would be continuing to push this anorexic girl, let her keep doing what she's doing without ever putting her on trending or anything else. But they're enabling her for $50,000. That's like one Logan Paul upload. Like, it's insane. It's legitimately insane. Her arguments are unhinged, bro. They're like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, she's supposedly making up to 4K a month. Like, okay, here's the thing, right? She streams on Twitch. She streams on Twitch now, right? She may actually make more money on Twitch than she does on YouTube. So by her logic, Twitch is the one to go for because they're making more money off of her. But YouTube is the one that she's going to get the clicks for. You don't understand, Jake, that 50K is used to feed Susan's cats. What's up, Craig? Her logic is outstanding. I got to watch your video. I haven't had a chance to sit down and watch your video yet. Not enough since she doesn't upload that much. True. It's definitely not enough to justify, like, what Belle thinks that they're doing. So, most likely, they're not doing it.
This is nonsense. The reason they didn't ban her is because she didn't break any rules. YouTube doesn't need Eugenia to stay financially afloat. Belle then points out how her video on Eugenia was taken down for violating TOS.
On May 16th, I got a notification that one of my videos had been taken down, and it wasn't like a super crazy video.
The video was actually insane. In this video, she talks about Eugenia's body in detail.
In this photo, she's
Oh, gotcha. I saw that you announced it on Twitter. I assumed it was coming out today. Sweet. I'll have something to watch after work.
And you can
oh yeah, she's bad. She's so
arms,
dumb. She's gonna be a lolcow in this
you
community.
Can see her collarbones.
In the same video, she makes up a crazy theory about how Eugenia's parents are keeping her anorexic for views.
I truly believe that people in her inner circle are purposely withholding help in order to capitalize off of her condition, which is beyond disturbing to think about.
This is based on nothing. She's completely fabricated it. This video from Belle is horribly offensive and at times reaches Alex Jones levels of conspiracy, but she's right when she says it doesn't break TOS. Fortunately for Belle, being an asshole isn't against the rules, which is why her video is still up on her YouTube channel. The way she's framing this is so dishonest.
Hi Pastel Belle. Our team has reviewed your content, and unfortunately, we think it violates our harmful and dangerous policy. We've removed the following content from YouTube. Why did my video on Eugenia get taken down, but Eugenia's own videos get to stay up?
I'm not surprised that the bot that hands out strikes would hear her use terms like pro-Anna and mistakenly take down her video. Videos wrongly go down on YouTube all the time. It happens to everybody if you're around long enough. That's why you have a chance to appeal it so a real person can take a look. Belle did that. That's why her video was reinstated the same day it was taken down.
It wasn't even down 24 hours. It wasn't even down 24 hours. It's a conspiracy. They're out to get me for going after Eugenia. Oh, my word. Yeah, here's the thing. I think that she wanted to go into the debate against Augie with Paige, thinking Paige was going to be on her side. I don't think she even looked in to see what Paige's take was. I really don't. I don't think Belle would... I don't think Belle would fare very well at all against Augie, unless Augie decides at that moment he's going to finally go for an e-girl and he's going to simp over her. But I don't see that happening either. By the way, after this stream, when we're done watching these two videos, I'm probably going to hop over to Twitch and just play some games, and I might open the Discord. So just a heads up. But yeah, this is like, it's insane. It wasn't even down for 24 hours, and it was she clearly like takes all that like twists it all around. Doesn't make any sense.
YouTube made a mistake. They are updating these bots constantly. They're not perfect. Now, does Belle tell you this so you can fully understand the situation? Say it with me, class. No, of course not. She's being an asshole.
Oh man, yeah, it's just crazy.
The only thing that I can possibly think of is that I just...
Yeah, 100% she wants protection. I kind of wish they just said yes just to see. Yeah, I thought it was funny that Paige actually even replied, like, why? Why would you be involved in this?
Asshole. Instead, she blames Eugenia.
The only thing
Thank
that
you,
I
Lily,
can
for finishing
possibly
that
think
sentence.
of is that I just don't generate the same amount of ad revenue that Eugenia does. Eugenia's...
She's a victim, guys. Belle Aubrey's a victim because she doesn't make as much money. She's a victim. YouTube is prioritizing Eugenia, and it's all a conspiracy. They only had to let her video go because they don't want it to look like Eugenia's a problem. So they're behind the scenes constructing this whole narrative that, like, oh, well, it was an accident. Your video came down by accident. It wasn't on purpose. She's so brain dead.
is making YouTube a ton of money, and I'm just not doing that.
YouTube ad revenue is split 50.
Speaking of which, actually, since we're here, I got very scared for a second there by this picture. I got very scared by this picture for a second there. Usually when I say that I'm spending 40 minutes going deep on a redhead that's normally on a different platform. Oh, that was good. That was good, Craig. I love that. She thinks she's the hero of the story, and it shows. She's literally Handsome Jack, except not as good looking. True.
55-45 between the creator and Google. That means YouTube is at most making $3,000 or $4,000
This is the biggest Susie Boo-hoo moment since Susie Lou herself.
a month from her. They're a $1 billion company, Belle. It's Google. Google needs Eugenia Cooney to survive. What branch of YouTube is being held up by Eugenia Cooney's paycheck? I swear she just randomly says shit, hoping if she does it confidently enough, people will believe her. And God bless her, it's worked. At what point can we just say it? How many lies? How much fabricated information? How often do we have to catch her omitting critical details to stories before we can just confirm it? Belle is acting with malicious intent. She is
Keep this in mind. Keep this in mind how this all rolled out. So it's 12:45.
not doing this out of stupidity. I'm sure it plays a role, but overall, she knows what she's doing. I'd have more respect for her if she was openly insulting Eugenia. Instead, she pretends like she cares. She cares about the kids. She cares about the rules. She cares about getting information right. Maybe you did at one point, but not anymore. In Belle's 30-minute video on me, she doesn't name me once. She doesn't address a single argument. She was caught red-handed in a conspiracy turned lie, so now all she could do is lie more. I want to talk about her response more, but there's no substance to it. It's just 30 minutes of unhinged rambling with no receipts. So I guess I'll address some of the more annoying points she makes.
All right, so real quick, I want to say, there's not really a whole lot for me to talk about in Willie's video, because he says it pretty much all himself. There's not much for me to add, right? But I think it's important to watch this video before you watch her second response, because of how she handles it. It's just so bad. It's so bad. It's so bad.
She makes it seem like I went on and on about her Tess Holiday tweet.
I can understand how this can be perceived as not my best tweet, and if I'm being 100% honest about it, it's not my favorite tweet either. Do you honestly think, though, that if we go through this creator's entire tweet history, we're not going to find a single thing that he no longer stands by? The difference is, I'm not going to sit here and find a single tweet and then nitpick it over and over and over to death.
I talked about her tweet for 30 seconds in my 40-minute video. I find it very odd that this is the only point in my video she directly responds to. It's only 30 seconds. It's probably the least important thing to address. And now I want to address Belle's Save the Children trigger narrative.
I don't see the same charitability towards other people, you know, minors who struggle with an ED, who kind of have no choice to look at it, because there are so many times where people have said, YouTube, do not show me this. I don't want to see this. And they block her content, and YouTube still promotes it. And then it's on the trending page.
Guys, we have to remember that YouTube is social media. That means real people uploading themselves to the internet. This is not TV. This is not PBS.
It's so aggravating listening to her, like, try and make this, like, big thing out of little things. It's so aggravating. Like, she is, like, peak cancel culture, right? Like, blow anything you can out of proportion as long as you get the target in the end. What about as its finest? Exactly. What was the last time EC was on trending? I don't know. I don't even know if there's a way to find that. You know, because they don't have like a track record of how many times somebody's been on trending, or at least not publicly anyway. There might be something like on the back end where they can look up the history of a channel's making onto that list.
There's no focus group making sure this content appeals to everybody. That means it's up to parents to make sure they know what their kid is watching. You wouldn't let your kid run around the streets talking to homeless people unsupervised, so why are you letting them do that online? Eugenia Cooney does not run a daycare. She is not responsible for your kid. Now, I've never had a problem with you.
Like, okay, here's the thing, right? By her argument, you could say anything that content exists about on YouTube, drugs, sex, anything. By her logic, anyone making content about any of those things that's not negative about those things is pushing that content to YouTube, which means that YouTube is promoting that thing to people, to minors, because minors are all over YouTube. She's doing another one of those things that we've had issues with people in the community doing for years, where they assume everyone in somebody's audience is a certain age group. It's hard to do that because, like, Google got in trouble because of the fact that they knew that people were underage and using adult accounts, like their parents' accounts and things like that, based on their behavior on the platform, right? But Google had to stop tracking that kind of thing. So you can't even go by the YouTube analytics to be sure of what your audience's age range is. Unless they're using like the kids app and kids accounts, all specifically and dedicated, you have no idea what they're actually doing. One thing that I bring up, spoilers, Belle Aubrey look to see, you can see, yeah, that's another thing. Like, is she hidden from there? Is she on there?
YouTube's block button, but if it isn't working correctly, that's something to complain to YouTube about. That is not Eugenia's problem. As for the trending page, I guarantee that most of you watching right now don't even know how to get to it. The idea that she can't trend because she's a trigger for some people is insane. The trending page is not how people watch YouTube. The reality is, if you suffer from an eating disorder, it's up to you to avoid your triggers. If YouTube's block feature doesn't work, then block it again and report the bug to YouTube. I want to end this video by giving Belle some genuine advice. She says a lot of stuff that sounds outrage-worthy on paper, but as soon as you start to question it, it just falls apart.
I also just want YouTube to hold Eugenia to the same standards they would hold any other content creator to.
Who? Name one other content creator that has been banned for being pro-anorexic, even though their content has nothing to do with their ED. She doesn't give a single example because that person doesn't exist. Belle's just saying that to stir outrage.
Because I know for a fact,
I will say, I think based on my conversations with normies and stuff, some of them do. I'll go on trending sometimes to see if anything interesting pops up, but a lot of that's like, is there anything I can make fun of? But the majority of people, no. It's like you have to go out of your way to get to the trending page. Most people go to their homepage or whatever, and that's it.
I did half of what Eugenia does. My platform would not only be taken away, but I would be canceled.
I love this. I love this part so much. It's just amazing.
Does. My platform would not only be taken away.
If I did half of what she does, my platform would be taken away and I would ban off of social media. Really? You would? Why?
But I would be canceled by everyone online.
What do you mean? What does Eugenia do? Tons of creators do cosplay, summer fashion, play video games just like Eugenia. There's a reason Belle doesn't name any specific thing that Eugenia does wrong. It's because the only thing that makes Eugenia different is that she's anorexic. I found it really rich that Belle was willing to criticize me for interviewing Drew, who lived with Eugenia for a week.
This creator also tried to use the point that one time another YouTuber stayed with Eugenia for a couple days.
Again, it was a week, but whatever.
As if this is proof positive that there cannot be any abuse going on in that house.
Of course my video doesn't prove that, but is literally the only witness testimony giving any specifics about Eugenia's home life. To this day, there's no video evidence, no anecdotes explaining how her parents are abusive. The logic is she's anorexic, therefore her parents must be abusive. Again, these people were citing tarot cards. Me interviewing Drew added more light to that situation than any of you guys have in the past year. Don't make shit up, go do the research.
It's more likely that the guy that met them in person and stayed with them for a week, it's more likely that they were overdoing it, they were acting, and the whole thing was fake. It's more likely that he didn't see reality than the tarot card reading being wrong.
Pins a comment talking about a random situation where Eugenia banned a 16-year-old girl from her Twitch chat when she
I forgot she made a comment about this too. I wonder if this is still on her video. Nope. She unpinned it. She deleted it. So this is what I was talking about. She said that she was going to be making a video. While filming this, I was made aware of a situation happened very recently where yet again a 16-year-old girl was groomed by a predator in EC's community. This predator has been a long-time donating member, blah, 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 blah. Shortly after uploading this, I was told that more underage girls were groomed by this individual recently. The victim has been made a public statement changing their initial stance and saying that EC's mods were eventually helpful to her. But I have yet to see the receipts that suggest, but I've also seen receipts that suggest otherwise. I removed the section where I was speaking about this in the video because details are still murky. But what is 100% clear is that there is yet another incident with a predator on her platform involving minors. Why is this important? Video addressing the ED situation primarily, but I messaged numerous problems on the platform. Anyway, yeah. She at one point had a tweet or something out that she said this she was going to make a different video on with all the receipts about this grooming situation, showing that they had ignored the 16-year-old and blocked them and all this other stuff, which didn't happen. I mean, some of the events that she says happened did happen, but not the way she thinks they happened or thought they happened. She was like running with a false narrative that she believed. Tipster and her talked, yes. And see, that's the thing. Craig. I don't know for sure what the receipts she had were, but the belief was that she had only partial receipts at the time. She's saying she has receipts, but she didn't look into them at all. Enough. Eugene is the bad guy, so why ask her for her side of the story to see if she had any information? Nope. Why would we do that? That's the rational thing to do.
Complained that another viewer was acting predatory towards her. Belle then clarified.
Oh, okay. Anonymity said he's heard more's coming from somebody else. I did see you posted that in the Discord, but I thought maybe that was like about the Tipster thing, because Tipster had talked about having more information, but he's not releasing that. So I don't know if somebody else has information or whatever, but yeah, I know. Okay, so like I said though, Tipster and her talked. Neither one of them is releasing videos about this situation because it's been resolved, and they're trying to move forward without releasing any more information for everyone involved's safety, basically, and for their privacy. So the problem we have here is that she was like ready to start airing out dirty laundry that people had already dealt with behind the scenes, not understanding what was actually going on, and almost forced a bunch of people's hands to like, no, that's not what happened, and then have to reveal a bunch of private information.
That the victim has since made a public statement changing their initial stance, saying that Eugenia's mods were eventually helpful to her. Great, it sounds like Eugenia handled it. Then she says, but I have also seen receipts that suggest otherwise. Damn, just like everything else with Belle, she just can't show receipts. And finally, Belle, if you're going to challenge someone to a debate...
I also reached out on Twitter to debate this guy on the...
Reached out. Let's remember that. Reached out. I pointed this out last time because other people pointed out as well that she says she reached out by tweeting to somebody who was blocked. So they weren't going to see it unless someone sent them the screenshot. I know some people do another video. Will come out with everything, including some parts that I personally help with. Gotcha. I mean, I know Tipster didn't release this information for everybody's because he was going to redact a bunch of stuff. And he's like, you know what? Just to avoid throwing anybody out there, I'm going to just leave this alone. So I don't know. Hopefully it's handled well.
The whole Eugenia Cooney Thinspo content situation.
Bitch, you better make sure I'm not blocked. That's a real one-way debate you're having. And remember, this has nothing to do with your sexuality.
How are you reaching out by contacting somebody? Oh, wait. You didn't contact them. They were blocked. And what was it she exactly said?
I'm not blocked. That's a real one-way debate.
Also, I'm open to discussing this EC pro-Anna content issue with Willie Mack if he's open to that. If we can find a larger new... See, she didn't even at him. He's blocked, and you didn't at him. But you reached out. Guess reaching out's all that matters if she actually reached out. Oh, she didn't, though. So, innocence until proven guilty is pretty much dead at this point, to be honest. Like, have Tino's... Yeah,
debate you're having.
I don't know.
Remember, this has nothing to do with
your
your sexuality and everything to do with how you act as a person. But guys, I'm happy to report this story has a happy ending. Belle is leaving commentary. She's going into politics.
There we go. After months of grappling with mental health and happiness, I'm going to be changing my content. I'm moving from YouTube commentary to left-leaning social commentary and media analysis. Left-leaning. She's a big fan of Hassan Piker and H3. I think we all know how well that fits this narrative, right? This seems like it fits pretty well with those two, based on the things we've talked about on my channels regarding them before, huh? Fitting.
How are you gonna tell people who to vote for when you can't even do YouTube drama right? On second thought, she lies like a politician. She'll fit right in. I have one last video coming out in the saga, putting to rest any doubts people have in my timeline, my portrayal of Katie Morton and Jacqueline Glenn, and of course we need to address our favorite positivity turtle, Repzilla. Shout out to the Patreon homies. Drop Z, Broke.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. The way you worded it, I thought maybe you were saying that more was coming about the about that specific situation. That makes sense. That sounds good. And the funny thing is, I've already seen that Repzilla walk that back. Saw the title from her most recent video. I want to slap the bread tube straight off your monitor. What was it again? I remember. Oh yeah, Based California becomes first state to make stealthing illegal. Okay, So is this it's like news now? It's not even actual commentary, I guess. I guess it's like just straight up like reporting a story. You know what I thought was funny too? Like, if you look at her thumbnail here and how it's executed, right? This one here. Look at how this is executed, right? This one here. It's just the little meme picture with the red glowing white text. Oh, did he change his? Oh, for a while there he was doing that. That was like his thing. I guess he has changed it. There we go. See, look, this is immediately what I thought of. I was like, is that a Rich upload? Is that a Review Tech USA upload? He's changed it a bit. It's pretty much the same. I guess he just does less of the red. He used to do red more often, I think. I forgot how often he uploads. It's like multiple videos a day, like the quartering kind of. Anyway, let me rewind. Let me zoom this back in. Saw the how can you prove stealthing though?
Tremendous.
Hey, thanks for the sub, anonymity. Well, maybe if she just reports stories, she might not get them wrong. Might. Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, there's a little bit of commentary in there. Probably, she's probably talking about some stuff. Oh yeah, by the way, there's a trigger warning on this one: images of individuals suffering an ED. And about that situation, both will be talked about. Also been working on a 30 to 40 minute video from me and another creator, which should cover a certain. Gotcha. The positivity turtle snake. Yeah. I don't know. I really do hope that he's talked about, like, I think he's taking a break right now, isn't he? I haven't seen him post anything in a while. I want to check Repzilla's Twitter real quick before we move on. Because Repzilla, I didn't really care about covering in all this. Fingers in the wrong spot. Repzilla. Because his stuff was kind of dumb, the whole thing. October 18th. Okay, yeah, so it looks like he's been... Yeah, it was the day after he made this that he started, like, backing off. He retweeted a couple things. Let's see, has he replied to anybody? October 23rd. Okay, no, he's still replying to people, I guess. Never mind. I thought he was taking a break. I guess he's not. For a second there, it looked like he was taking a break, but apparently not. He's down 400,000K in videos, which all have been archived. I don't know how much those, like what those videos, yeah. I don't know. I don't know what his average score per video or whatever is. Let me see. Why is this not zoomed in properly? This is like zoomed way in. There we go. I thought I already did that. Sierra Henneberry, thank you. Welcome to the channel. I forgot to get in a car anonymity. Belle's gonna fit in very well in BreadTube. Oh, she's gonna fit in very well. She'll be made fun of by lots of the internet. It's gonna work out great. Waiting for people to forget his BS. 50 to 60K? Okay, so yeah, so that is a significant amount. That was what I was wondering, is like his average view count. I got kind of distracted there, but yeah. Thank you for reading my mind on the incomplete thought. So it's about 15 videos so far. Can't get into the rest of it live, but it should. Yeah, no, I gotcha. Sounds cool. Sounds sick. Yeah, the T channel audit, as Willie called it, is going to continue. I'm gonna enjoy watching watching this dumpster fire, but I'm just gonna enjoy at the capacity I'm already invested in. I'm not as much fun as it would be to make fun of. I got so many other video topics and stuff on my plate. I'm like, yeah, screw it. I'm not.
There's a small group of creators out there who are trying very vigorously to spread the narrative that I hate Eugenia Cooney for whatever reason.
I don't think anyone has said that she hates Eugenia Cooney. I'm pretty sure no one has said that at all.
And that I'm trying to bully and harass her in order to foment hate against me.
But you are exaggerating claims and blowing things out of proportion to try and get her kicked off platforms until she's not skinny anymore. But it's not bullying and harassment. It's not at all. Sending misconstruing things to your audience to make them sound bad. Whoo! Nice, Anon.
Me calling out the predators in her Discord and trying to harass her in order to foment hate against me. Me calling out the predators in her Discord and trying to hold her accountable for the damaging effect that she has on her audience, which is largely made up of minors, is all just because I'm mean and evil and I like to bully a fellow ED sufferer.
See how she once again spins the narrative? See how once again she spins the whole thing? She's focusing on now, instead of focusing on like the fact that, well, she dealt with the predators in her Discord. That was over. It was resolved. She did what she needed to do. It was dealt with, right? But she's acting like the whole video was about that. She's acting like all her coverage has been about how there's predators in her Discord. No. There was a situation, maybe two, that I'm aware of, and they were both resolved. She did what needed to be done and took care of the situation. But sure, make it sound like Willie's defending predators. That's that makes sense.
This narrative is so disingenuous, it's honestly disgusting.
More projection, huh? She loves to project.
This creator
I'll vomit into her microphone.
Released yet another video slandering me. And while initially
I love how everything that's criticism of her is slander, by the way. Isn't that funny how that works? Like, she can straight up make stuff up about Eugenia Cooney, but it's not slander. It's only slander when it's Willie or some of the guys poking at her weak little arguments.
I said I wasn't going to make a response. I have been made aware of some things over the last 24 hours that have illuminated why exactly this sudden mob of hate has been.
Get ready for the conspiracy. I don't know if Rocky's still here or not, but boy, oh boy, is he going to enjoy this part.
Thrown my way now of all times, which I am going to address in the end of this video. But before I get into that, he did say in his video that I didn't truly address any of his criticism.
By the way, keep in mind, what just happened here?
Has been thrown my way now of all.
So she sets up a conspiracy.
Why exactly this sudden mob of hate has been thrown my way now of all times, which I am going to address in the end of this video.
She sets up a conspiracy and then says, we're going to come back to it later in this video.
But before I get into that, he did say in his video that I didn't truly address any of his criticisms. So today I'm going to go point by point and address everything. First, I want you to take a look at this thumbnail and see.
It's so dumb.
See how intentionally manipulative Willie is being. He took a picture of Eugenia crying about something that had nothing to do with me, and yet he's here trying to paint the picture that somehow I'm responsible for Eugenia crying here.
Guys, I'm not the one who literally made her cry. I just did a lot of the same things that people that are making her cry did. But he's making it look like I literally made her cry when I just did the same things and fostered the mentality that got people to do this to her. This picture is so well thought out and constructed, such a magnificent manipulation. She sounds like Trump. Yeah, I was gonna get to that later. I think I mentioned it earlier that the section about the 16-year-old has been cut out. Yeah, it's a good thumbnail too. It's actually a good thumbnail. The whole point is that she looks concerned here, and she looks like, you know, it's to convey that the beginning to the end of like the narrative. The problem with people like her and Repzilla, they will always go after anyone who isn't normal because they want everything done their way to fit their. Yeah, no, that's basically what it comes down to. Anyone that's big enough that it's considered punching up against somebody, and you can slightly twist it. Like, think about, like, how many YouTubers have released merch that was a little more expensive than people would have liked because it's not being mass produced, right? Cloak, Markiplier and Jacksepticeye's brand Cloak. This brand released, and there was a bunch of YouTube videos made about how it's a scam. Because a hoodie costs $50. This one cost me $50 because it's a custom hoodie that I had printed. Like, that happens because it's not being mass produced. These things cost more when they're not being mass produced for a company that can get goods like the wool and the materials at a cheaper cost. So when you have a smaller company like Markiplier and Jacksepticeye's Cloak or Teddy Fresh, they're going to have a much higher cost per item because they can't make deals. They're gonna go all right, so we're gonna be ordering this much from you for this extended period of time. Let's get a flat rate set for this amount of product or whatever. Like, they can't make those kind of negotiations at that smaller level. It's completely taking things out of proportion. Internet Common Etiquette has made silk screens merch that's genuinely amazing but also quite expensive. Yeah, almost every YouTuber's merch is like more expensive than if you go to Walmart and pick up a $10 shirt. Sure, you can go get a $10 shirt, but they're low quality and they're going to shrink and all that. I buy $10 shirts all the time from Walmart because I'm poor and I need to buy whatever fits, right? Especially with my weight changing a lot lately. So I'm buying shirts that fit, and I'm not too worried about having to replace it in a couple months. The problem is when you're buying merch, you're buying like you're buying it to support somebody, but a lot of times you're going to want that merch to last. So when you're buying like a real clothing brand clothing like Cloak or Teddy Fresh, it can't be the same like cheap merch that's going to like break down in the wash after like the third time.
He also went and found the angriest looking still he could from my video.
I disagree. I think my thumbnail actually was even angrier. She's lying here. No, I'm kidding. I definitely think that this one like makes her look more manipulative. Wait a minute. Yeah, okay, that was the last one. Yeah, it's just like absolute insanity. Thing is, Tipster said he's done with Belle because he's sick and tired of how stupid she is. Yeah, no, that's the thing. I think it's fun to laugh at idiots, and I'd already said I was going to like watch all 4 of these, so I was like, you know what, why not? Yeah, no, she looks like she's in the middle of a sentence, that's all. It doesn't look that angry at all. I don't know why she's like trying to paint well, I know why she's trying to paint this. She's trying to paint this as like some kind of crazy thing.
Again, to try to paint this image in people's brains that I'm angry and it's making Eugenia cry because I'm the evil one and Eugenia's the victim.
Better get that look
I bring
that
this
slow.
up because I think this thumbnail is the perfect indication to show how manipulative his entire narrative is.
Hey guys, no.
I think that my taking his whole thumbnail and super psychoanalyzing it, despite the fact that it actually breaks beyond the point of reality and rationale, is a perfect example of how manipulative Willie is.
#1 T channel here, and my god, for 30,000 views, we had a hell of an impact.
You had a hell of an impact because Keemstar decided to signal boost your slander with his 3 million follower plus Twitter account.
Wrong! Does she not realize that if his video only has 34K, and like he gets 34K, stuff like he gets like 30K fairly consistently, like, does she not realize that Keem retweeting his stuff with a $3 million follower account, shouldn't it have more than 30K views? You would think so, right? It's almost like Keem tweeting it out did next to nothing for it. It still has like 48K. He gained like 18K from him tweeting it out. It's actually got more to do with all the other guys in the community that then followed up and followed the story as well. Tries to show Willie's manipulative in the process. Exactly. That's the whole thing. She just spends almost all of her time projecting. There's an old saying that fits Belle perfectly, and it's stupid as a stupid does. Exactly. Willie literally commissioned me for another thumbnail, and he ended up not using Pure Stroke Lock.
But I guess you just seemingly forgot to mention that.
She takes a positive caption on one of you.
He didn't need to mention it, because he gets 30K normally. This is his normal audience, his normal reach. She did so little research and she didn't look to see, oh, wait, let's see. Okay, so he put out one video that was very unlike any of his other content. He had this one and got 14 and 16. But then this one, 30K, this one, 30K, 30K, 19K, 79K, 95K. Jeez, more of his videos in the last, like, I don't know, what is this, 12 uploads, have broken 30K than haven't.
Eugenia's photos and twist it in the worst way possible.
Attached to this photo, she has a caption that says, "What you think about yourself is more important than what others think of you." So in this photo, it seems like on the surface, it's about like positivity and self-love and self-care and things like that, which are great and wonderful things. However, I have a hard time believing that this caption is about loving yourself and wanting to take care of yourself, because clearly she is not taking care of herself.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Eugenia Cooney can't even write a positive message without Belle villainizing her.
Yes, it's called toxic positivity, or
this is not toxic positivity, which she's describing here. This actually sort of fits the description of toxic positivity, but what she's describing as toxic positivity is not toxic positivity.
Or fake positivity, and it's a thing. And it's something Eugenia has been doing for a very, very long time.
So let's read this real quick, okay? Toxic positivity is an obsession with positive thinking. It is the belief that people should put a positive spin on all experiences, even those that are profoundly tragic. I've seen Eugenia talk about things that are not very positive, right? She's like, hey, you just got to deal with it sometimes. Sometimes you got to... That is not toxic positivity. Toxic positivity is like when you weaponize positivity against people that are negative. Toxic positivity can silence negative emotions, demean grief, and make people feel under pressure to pretend to be happy even when they're struggling. It's possible there's an element of Eugenia in that, but then in some cases it may be self-imposed, because this is primarily about what people are doing to you. For example, if you are grieving over a loved one, like let's say you and your spouse were in a car wreck, right? They died, you didn't. And then at the wake, someone walks up to you and says, don't be sad, man. You could have died too. That's messed up. That is messed up. That is far more accurate a definition of like toxic positivity behavior than what she's trying to frame as toxic positivity. By her logic, a motivational speaker is horrifically toxically positive. That's the wrong way to phrase that, but you know what I'm saying. You can't be positive without being toxic positive? It doesn't make any sense. Let's see. Willie does some reviews. Wait, hold on. Didn't Willie say in the video made an impact because Eugenia promoted it or something? Not because Keemstar did? No, I don't think he did. I don't think he mentioned really what. He said she acknowledged it, but he didn't say that's why. She saw it, but didn't take a shot. Okay, yeah. She talks so much out of her ass. She should be doing videos standing up. Yeah, I agree, or at least sitting on the toilet. Saw a clip of her saying she saw the video. Yeah, that's all it was. He just acknowledged it. And she was like thankful for it. That's all. I mean, Princey's pretty toxic, but yeah. No, I mean, look. No, there are definitely people like Prince E that are toxic, and they're like motivational speakers. It's one of the reasons I do hate some motivational speakers. But she's acting like anyone that does like positivity stuff doesn't believe it. They're just. It's just toxic. Prince E weaponizes toxic positivity to like try and get his audience to believe like he is above reproach, he's above criticism and all that. Like he's done it multiple times. Like, I'm just a nice guy. Everyone else is just a douchebag being mean to me. That kind of thing. That's like more of an example of toxic positivity than somebody saying like, look, people hate me. I'm just trying to get by and be me. And I understand it's mental to think that trying to be nice means you must be toxic. Yeah. Yeah, Repzilla might have toxic positivity. Yeah. Repzilla's got really toxic turtles by her logic.
And you can verify that by checking her Twitter. It's just another way for Eugenia to deflect any criticism or any concern for her, and also harm minors in the process.
By the way, it even says here, for example, a person may try to appear happy all the time by presenting everything in a positive light. However, it can also be external pressure, such as when people tell a person who is grieving to move on. Oh, I didn't even realize that was the... That's basically the reference I gave. But yeah, she's like going to this like she does this thing where she jumps right to extremes. Everything is like right to the extremes. Blow it up as big as you possibly can.
It is a thing. You can Google it. You can look it up. I'm not going to educate you about this. Google is literally free.
She needs to be re-educated about it because apparently the education she got about it is wrong. A lot of people have confirmed. Yeah, no, I'm right. This is stupid. I've done a bunch of Googling and stuff. This is actually she is like misrepresenting this entirely.
Your only evidence is Eugenia writing a positive message on Twitter and thumbnails where you add a giant red arrow pointing towards her as if that proves anything. Belle, she makes videos on clothing and fashion. You could do this to anybody who makes that kind of content.
For someone talking about the situation so often and energetically, he seems wildly uneducated to talk about it.
This is where we get into the hilarious, ridiculous, like, see, look, I told you she's anorexic.
I find it really weird that in all of his videos, I don't think I've ever heard him mention body checking, which, again, Eugenia does. That's what her content is.
Her content is not body checking. She's done it a couple of times. Like, for example, she's very skinny, so if she has big boots on, when she picks her shoe up, she might need to hold her leg up with her arm because she doesn't have muscles. She doesn't have the muscle mass to hold her leg up that high, that long, wearing big, heavy boots. Congratulations. Someone with anorexia is exhibiting signs of anorexia. Body checking. She did it. Throw her in the gulag.
First clip, Eugenia gets a comment about someone asking her if she could put her fingers around her upper arm.
Oh, interesting. An audience member asked her if she could put her fingers around her upper arm.
And
An audience member asked her if she could do it.
this is a check that people struggling with eating disorders often do around their wrist, ankles, or if they can, their upper arm to see if they are thin enough to be able to fit it through their fingers.
Can I fit my fingers around my bicep? What's my bicep here? Yeah, I can do that, if that's what you're asking.
Lifting her legs instead of recording her shoes in the shoe haul video or shoe collection video. Like I said,
You've been furious watching back her stuff from the last 48 hours. Yeah. Thing is, it may be more than just eating disorder. No, that's true. That Eugenia suffers some because I was born with a disability and I'm as skinny as she is. The metabolism that plays a factor too. Yeah, no, there's a bunch of things that could play into it. She could have a bunch of different things, unfortunately. Getting asked to body check on stream is apparently proof that all her content is body check. She does show multiple clips of her body checking, okay? But the problem is, she acts like the problem is that just her lifting her leg, right? If I lift my arm like this, is that body checking now? I'm also fat. It's exaggerated heavily. And then this next point is just brain dead.
earlier, it's, she might be looking in the monitor to see if she's in frame, but a normal person would usually only have their shoes in frame if they're doing a shoe collection or a shoe haul. And by lifting her legs instead of only showing the shoes, you can see her full body, and you can also see, if she's in a dress.
See, yeah, but normally the shoe haul, they wouldn't actually wear the shoes. let's just look at a couple of shoe haul videos real quick. Let's see. Shoe haul. I kind of regret turning ad blocker off for YouTube again. Because I really don't want to watch this video to begin with, and now I'm watching an ad for a video I don't want to watch.
Hey.
When it's research, I hate ads. When it's friends and when it's people I actually am watching for like legitimate reasons.
Today's video is gonna be a little sneak.
Normally I care. Is she just gonna show the shoes, or is she gonna actually like put them on?
These and it'll match, because obviously if you have like pink hair, I know people are different. If you
She's not one of the ones. That's what I was afraid of. She's not one of the ones that's actually gonna put them on. Oh wait, but this girl right here, she even shows the shoes on her leg there. This person is verified?
Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Like the whole universe in one on my phone, the back of my phone. So this case is actually very unique. This one is actually made from
No, she's lazy too. She's just sitting there.
material.
I mean, I've seen some people that see this quickly 2x speed. She broke the YouTuber's code of video making. How dare she not do videos like everyone else? See, here's the thing, right? Like, sure, she puts them on in the video. Wait, in this video, she puts videos of her wearing the shoes in other places. It just seems like they just don't want to get up and put the shoes on. They're just showing them on camera. There's another one right there, trying on my shoes, and she's fully in frame. But there's a bunch of them where they just don't want to put the shoes on and show them off because they can just spin them around and stuff. Look, there's another one. There's another one. Like, there's a bunch of them where they do this. Look, there's pictures of them wearing the shoe. Like, there's a bunch of different ways to do this. Like, saying that she's, like, abnormal because she because she wears the shoes and shows them off is crazy. Especially since it looks like it's the same setup as, like, her streaming setup. If I'm reading that right, it looks like it's the same. It looks like it's the same setup. So if it's the same setup, then why would she change her setup entirely? Like, for all I know, she's like streaming these shoe try-ons. For all we know, it says this is from a stream. Wait, it says it's from a stream. It says right there, it's from a stream.
And they
Belle zoomed it in so that you can't see that it says it's from a stream. She puts it on stream, and she's looking at the monitor and looking at chat on stream. And their logic is, well, she should have done it without getting up.
Our shoe collection video. Like I said earlier, it's, she might be looking in the monitor to see if she's in frame, but a normal person would.
So she even says here, she's talking about this clip specifically. She's talking about this clip specifically. So her entire premise is based on a misunderstanding of the clip she's looking at.
Usually only have their shoes in frame if they're doing a shoe collection or a shoe haul. And
like, that's what I thought, is this looks like her looking at chat.
by lifting her legs instead of only showing the shoes, you can see her full body, and you can also see, if she's in a dress, you can see her legs when she's lifting them up. And
it's funny too, though, because look at this picture. Look at this thumbnail. Look at this thumbnail. You can see her legs when she's lifting them up. Her leg is half obscured by her arm. If she was like trying to show off her leg, why would she have her arm draped over the leg, like partially obscuring it? She's trying to look like a model.
Her legs when she's lifting them up.
Notice how it's the same pose for each one, except she's not doing the same thing. This one she's putting the shoe on. This one she's not holding her leg at all, and this one she's holding her leg. If it was body checking, why would she be doing different things each time?
And in some clothing hauls, I've also noticed that she doesn't get the item she's talking about in frame. And it kind of just seems like she's focusing on herself.
You would think if he was truly unbiased, he would present the fact that Eugenia does in fact body check. But
this is just so frustrating. That's not. She's just misrepresenting the whole thing. I'm like so tempted to like go smash a TV or something. Yeah. A normal person, right? It's a little dismissive, isn't it? Could it be that in her mind she might like know how she looks? Yeah. Not to mention, like I said, she's anorexic. We already knew that. So this isn't like any new information. Congratulations, you're right. She's anorexic and is exhibiting signs of anorexia, like body checking. Kind of crazy how that works, isn't it? You know what? Well, that sucks. That was a waste of time. I can't turn this TV on to smash it. Could be that in her mind she might like how she looks. Why is that a crime? I mean, I get the issue. I get the issue she has, but it's not valid. Love how the video... Love how the vid of Eugenia wasn't played in the last part, and it's just pauses. Yeah, right? Don't forget, she also claims that Eugenia is showing off her panties every time her legs... Yeah, right? That's nuts. That still blows my mind. I wonder if Belle did the long jump for athletics team because she's sure making leaps with her arguments. Exactly, right? It's just so freaking frustrating. It's just so aggravating. It's just so aggravating when you're this disingenuous and you're this ridiculously... it's just... I don't even know what to call it. It's just freaking aggravating, you know? It's just so annoying. It's just so annoying, like, how ridiculous and exaggerated and overblown the whole thing is.
For some reason, he didn't see fit to mention that in any of his videos. To the best of my knowledge. You know, especially considering that that was a major part of my...
Shut up, Belle. I'll get to you, Belle. Shut up. This is what you do to me, Belle! This is what you do to me, Belle! Drive me nuts. Anyway. Yeah, RIP TV. RIP to the homie. Emerson. And let's go ahead and rewind this a little bit. I've got all these TVs I've been like storing up to like destroy in creative ways for years and like do our own like smash room or whatever it's called where you just smash stuff. But, you know, never did that. Never got around to it, so now I get to smash things on my own. All right, let's get back to this now that brief stint is over.
In any of his videos, to the best of my knowledge. Especially considering that was a major part of my video, and body checking is a really common ED confirmation that...
Yeah, it's a common thing that, people with eating disorders do. 1 second. 1 second, I just got interrupted. I'm interrupted during this broadcast. No, I'm just kidding. I gotta send a text message real quick. Really good timing. It's really, really good time to ask for this kind of information while I'm live. Okay. And there we go. All right, back to the video. Let's give a prayer for the PS4 that gave it life because of... Oh, Paradox missed it. Aw, that's a shame. All right, well, I'll show her later. Let's pray. Let us pray for the TV. Let us pray. Let us pray for the TV. Let us pray. Let us pray. Peace be with you. Peace be a journey. All right, let's get back to listening to old what's-her-face make nonsense. I do have another channel. However, this is not a legitimate play button. I mean, sorry, it is a legitimate play button. This is the used leftovers. This is the used leftovers play button. It is the lowest you can get. It is like dirty tinfoil. I'm nowhere near getting silver yet or gold. But the used tinfoil I was good enough for, so I got that one. At least I earned one of them.
Is very triggering. And I do think it's noteworthy to mention it because A, it's a triggering behavior, but also EDs are literally the most deadly mental illness out there. And
I don't think that's true. I don't think eating disorders are literally the most... Let's Google that and see if we can find anything confirming that. What is the most deadly eating disorder? Mental illness. Oh, wow. This one actually says deadliest psychiatric disorder. Okay, now we're getting into specific stuff. But why is it the most deadly? I'm confused about that. All right, I'll give her that one. It's supposedly the most deadly. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense that that's the most deadly. I think that's just like, I think that probably has to do with the number of people, due to the number of people that succumb to it, right? But the number of people with mental illness that die of things related to it, she's correct. It's the most deadly because it's the only one that like directly affects your body. Like you can die from other things that have to do with like when you're older, like you get mental disorders and things like that that also have to do with your body degrading, but that's not the same thing, and that's probably just considered old age when you die at that point. Yeah. What? Man, there was so much dust in that PS4. It's all over my desk now. But yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I initially didn't think it made sense, but no, she's right. It kind of makes sense. And what you're saying makes sense too. Yeah. But it still seems like there's probably some levels to that she's like She's focusing so much on like a specific aspect of all this.
And so I think it's very irresponsible to talk about it without talking about the dangers of body checking.
Her video is titled I
want to listen to that whole thing one time.
These are literally the most deadly mental illness out there. And so I think it's very irresponsible to talk about it without talking about the dangers of body checking.
It's actually kind of amazing that eating disorders are actually worse than like PTSD. The amount of people that commit suicide from PTSD. That's surprising that there is stupidity, jumping off a roof believing you can land in a swimming pool 50 meters down below, but anorexia affects all chemical reaction in your body due to... Yeah, no. See, and that's one of my issues I had. In my last stream about this, I talked about the fact that when you're anorexic, you're going to be functioning at a lower capacity because you're not properly nourished. You're not properly... is it on YouTube's end, maybe? Okay, I'm okay now. Like you don't have enough nutrients in your system. You're malnourished. There's a bunch of other issues that come up, right? So the idea that people were like thinking that she's like perfectly in control while she's also being manipulated, and then also because she's anorexic, she's obviously not functioning at the proper capacity because she's clearly malnourished. So a bunch of their arguments like conflict with each other because being malnourished means your judgment and everything else is going to be arguably, at the very least, diminished because you're not going to be at a proper functioning nourishment and all that. See, that I'm not quite sure about. I think it's because of I think the idea is whether or not the mental illness itself can hurt you. Because one of the only mental illnesses where the illness itself causes you to do things aside from suicide would be eating disorders. Or any kind of dysphoria, really, because it might lead you to try and body modify, which could also be deadly. If you try and amputate a limb on your own or something like that. Yeah, I figure that's probably the way they get to that result is the number of people who have it that die. See, and by that logic, and that itself could be misleading too, to be honest with you, though. Because if you think about it like this: how common is an eating disorder? How common are eating disorders? So you gotta wonder. No, wait, no, never mind. You're right. Percentage of those who die, because it's a percentage. Anyway, no, I'm giving this. I'm not going to sit here and nitpick it anymore. Anyway, the point is, it's still weird because she's trying to make this out to be because it's deadly, because it's serious, because it's deadly and serious. We have to look at any little thing she does as an indication of the problem.
Her video is titled My Response and Why YouTube Agrees with Me. They definitely don't, but we'll get to that.
Where's your proof that they don't? Because you spend a lot of...
Don't, but we'll get... The video is titled My Response and Why YouTube Agrees with Me. They definitely don't, but we'll get to that.
Where's your proof that they don't? Because you spend a lot of...
Her logic is all about speculation. Her logic is all about speculation when it comes to Eugenia Cooney and all this other stuff, right?
Time in your video going over the need for having proof and receipts for everything, but I don't see you bringing forward any proof or receipts for what you said in your video.
Let's go back to this. Real quick. I think it was the 14-minute mark. I think it's a 14-minute mark we're going back to in Willie's video. I believe that's where he covers the video going back up. Come on. One more ad. Erectile dysfunction is a definite sore spot for a lot of people. There's less impaling on flaccid penises.
Block button, but if it isn't working correctly, that's something to complain to YouTube about. That is not Eugenia's problem. As for the trending page, I guarantee that most of you watching right now don't even know how to get to it. The idea that she can't trend because she's a trigger for some people is insane. The trending page is not how people watch YouTube. The reality is, if you suffer from an eating disorder, it's up to you to avoid your triggers. If YouTube's block feature doesn't work, then block it again and report the bug to YouTube. I want to end this video by giving Belle some genuine advice.
Okay, so I guess I have it wrong.
Me once.
Or,
she doesn't address
here we go.
a single right when she says it doesn't break TOS. Fortunately for Belle, being an asshole isn't against the rules, which is why her video is still up on her YouTube channel. The way she's framing this is so dishonest.
Hi, Pastel Belle. Our team has reviewed your content, and unfortunately...
So he covers it. He does show receipts. She acts like because he says he'll get to that he never gets to that. It's literally 10 minutes... No, sorry. 8 minutes after he says, but we'll get to that.
You know, I did provide proof that my video was flagged.
Yeah, you also left out of your video that your video went back up.
For harmful and dangerous content. You know, the clause that actually does contain something about eating disorders. And all you have to provide as counterproof or like counter evidence is this half-baked conjecture that for some reason the YouTube bots aren't sensitive enough or intelligent.
The YouTube bots. Even though everyone was getting flagged like crazy all last year because the bots were out of control. YouTube themselves tweeted that the bots were going to be automatically flagging things a lot. And they warned people, you'll probably get dinged for a lot by accident. I showed the tweet on my last stream.
Enough to see that my video wasn't actually pro-Anna.
He starts off criticizing me for not being fair to her.
This was not an objective critique.
It's not half-baked conjecture when YouTube themselves said, hey, this is going to happen.
Or audit as he was trying to frame it. This was literally a hit piece meant to smear me as much as he possibly could.
Does Belle show any examples for how I smeared her or how I was being dishonest? No, of course not.
Again, just take a look at the thumbnail.
Again, I'm not going to provide an actual argument. I'm just going to provide the previous manipulated argument.
Giving my arguments. It's the only fair way to make a video on someone.
It's the only fair way to make a video on someone.
In Belle's 30-minute response to me, I only appear in it one time, and it's to say that I hate women and hate LGBT.
Again, another lie. I never said that he hates women or LGBT people. What I said was that
it's funny how so much of her criticism about Eugenia is about how Eugenia is implying things, and it's like subtle messages that Eugenia is accidentally sending by being anorexic and doing anorexic things on stream. It's funny how so much of her content is about the things that she accidentally implies in her content when she makes this argument.
That he is dismissive of content creators who are women or LGBT, and that he
women and hate LGBT.
Again, another lie. I never said that he hates women or LGBT.
I only implied it.
People. What I said was that he is dismissive of content creators who are women or LGBT, and that he calls our content tea rather than commentary. Now, if you look at this clip from his video, what do you notice about every content creator on the screen right?
Let's see. This person calls it tea. This person called 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 it tea. Oh, wait. They all called it tea.
Yeah. They're all either a woman or they're LGBT. So, let me get this straight. If you talk about current events on YouTube...
Wait, she just said T.
Then you're a T channel. Well, as long as you're LGBT or a woman. But if you're a straight guy...
Completely misrepresents the argument.
Then it's just commentary, bro. It's kind of ridiculous that I am the one that's being accused of lying when he's lying. And we're not even
when he's lying. It's kind of ridiculous that I'm the one being accused of lying when he's lying. She had to cut mid-sentence to save her own argument.
5 minutes into the video. But nice try.
You gotta wonder what she cut out there, right?
That's being accused of lying when he's lying. And we're not even 5 minutes into the video. But nice try doing the whole, she's calling me a bigot card. That was clever.
She acts like...
It was clever? You did imply that. That was your whole thing, was that he's like putting down people that are women and LGBT. He's putting them down and making himself sound better. He's diminishing their opinions because they're women and LGBT. You literally did what you're saying you didn't do. It's blatantly obvious. There's no excuse for it. There's no argument. You did it. It's so crazy that she actually tries to make that defense.
It's like I invented the term T-channel to use as a slur. I didn't. It's how these creators describe their own content.
They might describe their content that way, but I have never described my content that way.
But you make similar content to them. The community refers to that content that way. That's why you're lumped in with them, because you make similar content to them, and they all do you not understand how generalizations work when it comes to genre? Apparently not. Actually, you know what? I'm curious. What does genre mean? What's it? Or maybe it should be what's its origin? Origin of the word genre. Did that say gender? All right, never mind. I thought maybe genre was coming from generalization.
What determines if you're a T-channel or not is...
How ironic would that be if genre came from the word general? And she's like complaining about how she's like being generalized as a T-channel because of other T-channels that make similar content.
Simply who you cover. If you talk about makeup drama or Gabby Hanna...
I disagree with this. I think a lot of it has to do with the way you cover things too. I do disagree with Willie a little bit on like where the boundary of T versus commentary is, but she doesn't know her ass from a hole in the ground, Jake. You might be expecting too much of her.
Or Jeffree Star, that would make you a T-channel. That's why I've been referring to myself as a T-channel since covering Gabby Hanna. When a T-channel says rotten stuff about Gabby
or the commentary guys, it's okay. We could...
See, you know, you gotta like that, right? He said the commentary guys, and she's saying that this is him calling himself a commentary guy.
Take it. Belle framing me as a woman-hating homophobe because I use the term T-channel.
Let's go over this again.
Belle framing me as a stuff about Gabby
or the commentary guys, it's okay. We could take it.
Belle framing me as a woman-hating homophobe because I use the term T-channel.
Let's go over this again. I never said that you hate...
Now, Willie did this in his video too. I absolutely hate it when people unironically act like she's doing right now. Look how cocky she is, right? Because she's, let's go over this again. I just pointed this out to you. Even though I didn't point it out in the previous video, it was previously in this video that you haven't seen yet. So I'm pretending like I'm teaching you a lesson for the second time, but it's the second time I'm saying the thing in this video, which means no one has learned anything since I said it the first time. So me saying it right now, like cocky, like you're ignoring something, didn't actually happen. That itself is manipulative to make yourself sound smarter and make it sound like he's dodging things you said. Now, like I said, though, Willie did this to some extent at some point in the previous video. I can't remember what the line was, but he did the same thing where he played something that she said and played it again later. He's like, I mean, look, but whatever, let's move on. But she actually tries to use it as like an actual big argument rather than just poking fun at her.
Women or LGBT people. What I said is that you're dismissive of content creators who are women or LGBT.
Genre comes from French. It means type. Okay.
And you call cool. Commentary T rather than commentary. I didn't say that you hate us, and
by the way, a lot of people have generalized the commentary community to the drama people, right? But then the T channels have been generalized to a different aspect of it. It's all commentary, and everybody knows that. But she's getting butthurt over the fact that it's not being labeled flat out commentary. It's a genre of commentary. It's called a subgenre. It's freaking ridiculous. It's so stupid. It's almost like every word out of her mouth is manipulative.
I also don't really understand why you're trying to bring up the same point again, like a minute later in the video.
Kind of like she did, right?
Gabby Hanna is not a serious issue.
Yes, Gabby Hanna is a serious issue because not only is she a rape apologist, but...
Guys, that one time she did that thing where she like was debatably a rape apologist, that means that for life she's like pro-rapist. Did you know that? Guys, these people that we're not interactive with, like on a personally, these people that had personal lives and were interconnected in their personal lives, they had a complex issue where she didn't cut off all contact or whatever with a person who allegedly raped somebody. Did you know that rapists just cease to exist after they rape somebody? So if you ever talk to somebody that's a rapist again, I mean, yeah, I'm being hyperbolic here again. Point is, she makes this point like this itself is like the big issue with her is that like, because something happened once years ago. Like people like Nick DiOrio were labeled like rape apologists because they talked to Gabby Hanna. Like they were rape apologists by association. That's nuts. The reason why Tipster and others call out T channel is because they're always calling content over the. Yeah, that's a big like that's the thing is that's one of the reasons I want to make a video about this at some point. But basically, the commentary community, like all aspects of it, all commentary genres are like just kind of arbitrarily decided on by the viewer as to what they view it as. There's no actual genre lines that have been drawn, except for like where the audience has decided they want to view it. So that's why like no one can agree on like. If I call JonTron a commentary channel, a lot of people disagree with me. But what he makes is commentary content, and it's very similar to content that you would have seen H3 making like 4 years ago. But you can't compare the two. No. It's all commentary. Oh yeah, can't wait for CNN to make the next article.
But she also bullied a rape survivor publicly.
Wasn't that part of the rape apologist argument, though?
Like, harassed her for months. She also...
I don't remember that. I mean, I remember a back and forth where the other girl was going after Gabby, too. I don't remember her specifically herself just going at somebody. But it's funny how she doesn't put any of those on screen, right?
Also promoted false rape allegations. Something I would think that you would care a lot about. I happen to think it's...
That one I'm not aware of. The promoting false rape allegations. I don't know about the false rape allegations from Gabby Hanna. Now I do think it's funny though that like if Gabby Hanna actually believed that this false rape allegation was real, it's funny how she like actually tried to help a rape survivor, a theoretical rape survivor, right? She believed it was real and she actually tried to help. But that would go against her being a rape apologist, wouldn't it?
False rape allegations. Something I would think that you would care a lot about. I happen to think it's actually a very serious issue. So yeah, if you don't think Gabby Hanna is a serious issue and you think that all of those issues are just like...
By the way, keep in mind that Gabby Hanna's content is not about rape. So... like constantly whining and complaining about her content because you don't like the person is just art from artist disagreement. JonTron is closer to something like Leon Lush, higher production on John's end. Yeah. Well, no, but that's the thing. It's like, it's still commentary. Yeah. Let's hope JonTron doesn't do a podcast exclusively in the future. Gabby Hanna is always the one who instigates problems, and yet Belle's claiming Gabby didn't do wrong. No, she's saying that Gabby Hanna is doing stuff wrong. Belle's saying that Gabby's the one doing wrong. She thinks Gabby is like a massive, massive problem, even though her content itself does not promote any of the negative stuff.
These trivial little like T-channel subjects, then I think that says more about your character than it does about anyone else's.
So now she's like, it sounds like she's trying to allude to him being a rape apologist. Like, if you don't care about rape, I don't know, bro. That seems sussy. Yeah, that's not what he's saying at all.
I criticized you for who you are as a person, and you...
Like, you gotta love how retroactively she can go back and like, hey, by the way, these things that he did in the past, if you endorse these things that you may not even understand happened, I mean, it's crazy that you would support rape. That's so dishonest.
You have it on full display right now.
I'm just gonna let the irony of that clip sink in for a little bit. I also find it really
full display
anyone else's.
I criticized you for who you are as a person.
About your character than it does about anyone else's.
I'm curious. We got to go back and listen to this. Look at this. Listen to this weird cut here that doesn't exist in Willie's video.
I criticized you for who you are as a person. And
why is there a weird cut there?
Your content. And unfortunately,
drag the LGBT community down with the sinking ship that is your argument. I criticized you, not for your sexuality, but for who you are as a person.
Oh my.
Your character than it does about anyone else's.
I criticized you for who you are as a person.
I didn't criticize you for your sexuality. I criticized you for who you are as a person.
And you have it on full display right now.
I'm just gonna let the irony.
So it's weird how she like cut that out for like seemingly no reason, right? Like that's just a weird thing to cut out.
Of that clip sink in for a little bit.
I still don't quite understand what the irony is supposed to be. I guess that he's pointing out problems with her criticizing Eugenia Cooney for things she can't possibly know, but Belle is legitimately doing things by spinning narratives that don't exist, by misrepresenting things and making her sound like a villain. She's actively, intentionally, like, reframing things to make it sound bad. She's being dishonest and manipulative to damage a girl with an eating disorder. Like, there's no way you can spin that into a positive, right? So the idea that she's being critical based on valid criticism isn't true. So her argument here that was ironic isn't even fair criticism. It's not. It's not ironic.
I also find it really funny because Sloan literally uses his platform. He is brave enough to use his platform to call out some of the most prolific predators on YouTube and in Hollywood. So how dare you call Sloan and reduce his content to just being tea?
Bro, he literally cited a tarot card reading as proof that Eugenia's parents are abusive.
That's fine about the psychic, but my original point still stands.
But your point wasn't his point. So you refuted his point by making a different point, and then you say your original point still stands. It doesn't have anything to do with each other.
Sloan has called out numerous powerful predators with his platform, and that's a hell of a lot more than you're doing with yours.
Except that you seem awfully predatory in your pursuit of Eugenia being deplatformed. And you're still dodging the truth. You're still dodging all of his arguments and spinning ulterior narratives about what he's actually saying.
For example, I give a simple timeline of events that includes Katie Morton. Of course it does. She's a major character. Belle responds with, well, what about the BetterHelp scandal she was in? What about it? How does that relate to the conversation?
You're trying to frame her like she's a credible person when she is in fact not.
Based on the non-professional's opinion, she's non-credible because she supported BetterHelp, which we found out is not actually a problem, never was a problem. So her own argument here is because Katie Morton has done some sketchy things, the biggest of which was the BetterHelp situation. She's not credible based on her not professional opinion. Even though there was nothing wrong with BetterHelp. She supported a mental health app that people thought there was something wrong with, but there was nothing wrong with it. That's why she's not credible.
Brings up how I called D'Angelo Wallace a douchebag 2 years ago.
You literally called D'Angelo Wallace, of all people, the biggest douchebag on the internet.
What about it? How the fuck does it relate to the conversation?
It relates to the conversation because not only does it show how hypocritical you are with what channels you decide to label as T channels.
You're not including any of what happened in the video. You're just saying that it's hypocritical because it works for your narrative. That's all you're doing. You're just using buzzwords here. This is exactly why I'm going to make a series of videos. I was going to do the iceberg video where I just talk about all the dumbest arguments and criticism and used in commentary. Instead, I'm going to make multiple smaller videos now that's going to go into how stupid people are about how they use these arguments.
But it also shows how biased you are with what subjects you decide to cover. D'Angelo Wallace, biggest douchebag on the internet. Do you realize how stupid that sounds?
Do you realize how stupid you sound? Because you have no idea what actually happened. You didn't watch the video, did you? I mean, she has no clue what she's talking about. It was 2 years ago. So she's trying to hold him to that right now, right? But she's also ignoring what the actual situation in the video was. Exactly, Sierra.
especially coming from someone who supports creators who have done so much more that deserves to be called out for, but for some reason have managed to escape your oh-so-objective analysis.
The funny thing is she thinks he supports Alex Jones because he made a video about Alex Jones and why he doesn't think he should be deplatformed. His video about Alex Jones being deplatformed was not even about supporting Alex Jones. It was about, hey, I don't like deplatforming. I think we should not deplatform him. That was it. That was it.
But even before that, my last video on Eugenia was back in May. I think it was May 5th specifically. So my last video on Eugenia was in August, and before that it was in May. May. It's now October.
Trust me, if I knew you were doing this, I would have said something a lot sooner.
Here's another
Isn't it funny how she cuts more out there? Like, this is so poorly edited.
lie. Because a few months ago, a creator in your friend group...
I would have said something a lot sooner.
Here's another lie. Because a few months ago, a creator in your friend group made a video going over these same exact talking points that you did, except months ago. So stop pretending...
Yeah, the months ago was in August when he followed you. And he said in the video he's been working on the video since then. He's been following you for 3 months, making this video, doing the research. She's once again either too stupid or too disingenuous to not reframe the whole thing dishonestly.
Like you didn't see the video, stop lying to your audience, and stop acting like you're not regurgitating these same exact things that he said just months later.
He's not. If you've seen the Nick Diorio video, you know it's not all the same points. Willie is doing this on his own. This is, or well, essentially, this is not like Willie's point, Nick's points regurgitated at all.
I have never, ever called for YouTube to ban people simply because they have EDs. Implying that I think all people who suffer with an ED should be banned from YouTube automatically is just not true. Like, that's just a straight up lie.
Belle, people are saying that about you because that's what your argument boils down to.
No, that's not how it works. It doesn't boil down to that just because that's what you want it to be. Thinspo exists, Pro Anna exists, shock content exists.
But what we keep trying to tell this dumb woman is that she's not doing it on purpose. You're saying that because she does it, whether it's intentional or not, she's doing it. So because Thinspo and Pro Anna exist, whether or not she actually does these things consciously, she is Pro Anna. So because she's anorexic, exhibits signs of anorexia, has mannerisms that are anorexic, and all these other anorexic things, right? Because she does these things and she's on camera, it makes the content Pro Anna, and she is by that logic Thinspo. You are saying because of all of this, her content is pro-anorexic and Thinspo. If it's not possible for her to be on camera without being pro-anorexic accidentally, then you are indeed saying that she is doing this because she's anorexic. There's no way around it. She can continue to do this all she wants. Saying that she's doing anorexic things that happen when you're anorexic because it's part of the mental illness, saying that being on camera doing these things makes it pro-anorexia. There's no way around those two things being connected. And that's what she's trying to do. She's trying to get around that.
Whether you like it or not, influencers do have a responsibility to their audience because with a platform comes influence, and with influence comes responsibility. That's just how it works.
She is actively influencing brain cells out of my head.
That's why we have TOS.
When you actually look at Eugenia's content...
And that's how she gets to the TOS.
What is it? Video games, clothes, and makeup. She's doing the same thing as everyone else on this website.
No, she's not doing the same thing as everyone else. She's producing Thinspo, she's body checking, and she's producing content which is actively hurting her audience regardless of how many people ask her to stop. And
how many people are asking her to stop? She's got 2 million subs. She's got a large active base that are not asking her to stop. You know, when I was a kid and I wasn't allowed to watch Power Rangers, you didn't see me writing letters to Fox or whoever was like airing it. Like, hey, can you stop airing this? My parents won't let me watch this. Can you please stop? Can you please stop? I'm not allowed to watch this. Can you please stop? It's just like, it's entirely like taking the responsibility off everybody else. Almost the entire T community has turned on her at this point, by the way, about all this stuff. No, I wasn't allowed to watch Power Rangers. I wasn't allowed to watch Dragon Ball Z because Piccolo looked like a demon. I wasn't allowed to watch Yu-Gi-Oh! Because they summoned dragons from cards, which look like demons. Yeah. This woman is honestly enraging. She's so out of touch. Exactly. she is so much built on like projection. Her and content is so much, at least around Eugenia, is so much built around assumption and projection because of her experiences and knowledge about the eating disorder that she herself has, where she's hyper analyzing it and hyper aware of it. She is the definition of too close to a story.
And the worst part is, she's doing all of it with a smile on her face while telling everyone that she is completely fine.
So was Belle, when she was anorexic, she's still anorexic, when she was dealing with her anorexia more directly, was she like self-loathing all the time and like never happy? Is it possible? Like, it sounds like she's saying it's not possible for Eugenia Cooney to actually be happy while being like this. And while I would hope that she's trying to fix it, and I hope she's getting better, I would never assume that she can't be happy like this. You know? Like, it is possible, Belle.
Normalizing the idea that she is okay, that she is not sick, and that this is normal, healthy, and fine.
Do you want to gain weight? Xavier, no, I don't want to gain weight, but that doesn't really mean there's like a problem or anything. Not everyone really wants to gain weight, you know? So no, I'm not like trying to gain weight. There's no reason why, I just don't feel like I need to.
Other creators are not doing that, and you know that. This is the part where being responsible for your influence comes in.
A lot of creators actually are pro-body positivity. So I feel like she's actually wrong there. A lot of them are. It's like, in that clip that she shows, she thinks that that's proof of her like supporting being anorexic, right? Because she's saying like, I don't want to gain weight. Some people don't feel like they want to gain weight and they want to be skinnier. So like that's whatever. She not at one point did she tell people how they should think or feel about anorexia or anything else. She just said that she doesn't personally feel like she needs to gain weight. She feels like she's happy the way she is. But you know, some people are like that. That's it. That's all she said. She didn't, so the logic is because she didn't outright shame having anorexia, or like, yeah, I need to gain weight because I'm dying. Because she didn't do that, I guess the logic is that she must be supporting anorexia with that clip. So it's again this whole extremes thing with her, where everything has got to be positive and negative. She has to be on one end or the other. Which is funny because I feel like she's got to understand that like things like spectrums exist, right? People with eating disorders exist on different lines of an eating disorder. There's different levels and different stages all throughout this whole thing between being, you know, like binge eating and having anorexia. It's insane.
If you look at their community guidelines page, you'll see that there's a bunch of different ones, but if you scroll down, you'll see one that says harmful and dangerous content. And if you read through it, it says eating disorders. Content that praises, glorifies, or encourages viewers to imitate anorexia or other eating disorders.
As we've discussed, Eugenia's content doesn't do that, but Belle just doesn't seem...
Wait, isn't it crazy? Isn't it crazy how earlier in this video she said he doesn't provide any proof for this, but now she's actually going over the proof? It's almost like she sat down and reacted to the video without actually like looking through it first or something. It's almost like she just sat there watching it and reacted to it. Since she didn't seem to believe that there was any evidence in here and shamed him for not putting evidence in. Isn't that crazy? Oh, wait, but he did.
To understand.
Where have you been for the last year? What are you talking about? Yes, it does. When she's eating disorders. Content that praises, glorifies, or encourages viewers to imitate anorexia.
Content that praises, glorifies, or encourages viewers to imitate anorexia. Her content doesn't praise, glorify, or encourage viewers to imitate.
Or other.
Just because she's anorexic and exhibits mannerisms of anorexia.
Eating disorders.
As we've discussed, Eugenia's content doesn't do that, but Belle just doesn't seem to understand.
Where have you been for the last year? What are you talking about? Yes, it does. When she's producing this type of content, and then she goes around and tells her impressionable young audience that she's completely fine, please don't worry about her, everything's okay, everything's like completely cool, it's okay if you look like that, it's okay if you look a certain way, don't listen to what other people think, that is...
Let's listen to that again.
That she's completely fine. Please don't worry about her. Everything's okay. Everything's like completely cool. It's okay if you look like that. It's okay if you look a certain way. Don't listen to what other people think. That is influencing them. That is telling them that it is okay that she looks like that. And therefore, she's spreading the message that it's okay if they look like her too.
YouTube.
You notice how she makes all these jumps from what actually was said to imply things? But wait, I thought Willie wasn't allowed to feel that you implied that you called him a bigot. I thought Willie's not allowed. I thought you're not allowed to. I thought you didn't imply that he's a bigot, and Willie's not allowed to, jump to that conclusion when you're that heavy with the laying it on, right? And then the whole. I think we can assume, based on his feelings about LGBT and women and black people, I think we can assume his feelings towards progressive mindsets and progressive policy. You laid it on super thick, and he picked up on what you were implying. And your whole thing about Eugenia is what you think she's implying. It's so brain dead. Almost all of her TOS arguments are go better for deplatforming Nikado Avocado than Eugenia. Yeah, no, agreed. Definitely. That's what angers me too, Jody. Her lack of empathy for fellow victim is utterly disgusting. That's what gets me the most, is like, it doesn't make any sense. It makes zero sense. Yes, I am heavy. Thank you.
Actually responded, thanks for the info. Mind following her Twitter account so we can move the conversation to DMs? Belle accepted, and this is what she relayed of the conversation. YouTube just said they can't identify any
Bad choice of words towards Belle? I missed the joke. I don't know. I missed the reference.
Belle accepted, and this is what she relayed of the conversation. YouTube just said they can't identify any TOS violations with Eugenia. Wow, it looks like YouTube doesn't agree with you. They agree with me.
Yeah, because YouTube never allows profit to get in the way of their good judgment, does it? That's complete.
I know, I was kidding. I didn't think you were actually saying I was heavy. No, I'm fat. I joke about being fat all the time. It's not that big a deal. Don't worry. I was just playing.
Completely ludicrous. The idea that any corporation
wait, hold up.
Doesn't agree with you. They agree with me.
Yeah, because YouTube never allows profit to get in the way of their good judgment, does it? That's completely ludicrous. The idea that any corporation would prioritize profit above, doing what's right is just a completely ridiculous idea.
She then says this.
Isn't that funny how that was not his argument whatsoever? Isn't it funny how that was not his argument in any way, shape, or form?
Means ad revenue is more important to YouTube than protecting their community.
Yeah, it's so awful to try to use your platform to keep kids safe on the internet instead of talking about why D'Angelo Wallace is the biggest douchebag on the internet.
Isn't it funny how stuck she is on the fact that, like, a creator she likes got called a douchebag? Like, she is so hung up on the fact that he called D'Angelo Wallace a douchebag. It's just nuts how that's, like, the only thing she can keep going to. Yeah, but you said D'Angelo Wallace is a douchebag, and objectively, it's my opinion that, he's not.
I'm not surprised that the bot that hands out strikes would hear her use terms like pro-Anna and mistakenly take down her video. Videos wrongly go down on YouTube all the time. It happens to everybody if you're around long enough.
Do you, Willie Mac, have proof that my video was taken down because bots false flagged it as being pro-Anna content?
YouTube putting it back up indicates that, yes.
Do you have receipts for that? You don't.
YouTube put your video back up and said, yeah, sorry, this was a mistake. Yes, that is proof. YouTube said it was a mistake, and they put it back up. If your video was taken down by mistake, then it was taken down by mistake, right? That's the logic. So either you're saying that we can't trust corporations ever. That's a truck. If you're saying that we can't trust corporations at all because they're all just going to lie and slander and but they're going to still go ahead and put my video back up. I mean, even though it makes them look bad by that logic. Your argument doesn't hold up at all. Your argument doesn't hold up at all. Like, YouTube said it was an accident, but I don't believe them. And despite the fact that it happens to a lot of other people, I still don't believe them.
Oh, okay. That's cool, because I actually do have receipts that my video was taken down because it was flagged for promoting eating disorders. Now,
and then it was put back up without alteration. She's completely ignoring the logic and reality and going to the extent that YouTube is silencing this little under 100K channel so that they can make $50,000 a year off of Eugenia Cooney. Actually, I was watching a video of a former dietitian who worked with anorexic, and she clocked almost immediately that Belle was so triggered so badly because she had an ED. Yep. Yeah, that's the thing, is that it's very obvious how personally connected she is to this, and that the reality is she herself is just triggered by it, which is why she's overreacting, because she is hyper aware of the mannerisms and behaviors. No, she's not. She's not intentionally aware of any of this stuff. That's the problem. That's what's so ridiculous about this. She's dishonest, whether she's consciously doing it or she's like justifying things like subconsciously. She at some level is spinning things to justify it in her head because she's convinced herself that that being anorexic is like such a sinful thing. She cannot risk ever having that normalized in her mind. So she has to convince herself that it is a horrible, horrible thing. And I mean, it is a bad thing. I'm trying to get this across the right way, and it's not coming out right. The point is, she is in her head trying to convince herself that it's such a bad thing that she can never go back to it, and that no one else can ever have it. She's trying to get to that point, right? And the only way she can do that is to always kind of maintain that energy, so that she always remembers how bad it is. So she's putting that energy onto Eugenia. And a lot of that is probably self-loathing that she's projecting onto Eugenia. You know what? I know you disagree, such disavow, but I'm beginning to believe that Belle hasn't said... Notice in neither response she brings up that her vid was returned. No, she doesn't. She never brings it up. She never brings up, as far as I'm aware, that her video was put back up. And she cuts out that Willie Mack said hers was put back up, as far as I'm aware. Belle's like Tom during the pyro thing. She's making this too personal. And see, at least Tom had the good sense to listen to his friends and back away. And let's be real. The only thing Tom really did in that situation, in my opinion, that was bad was he dove too hard on that thing. He made a comparison to red kiwis. Like, he compared him to an actual predator, like an actual, like, verified, he is a predator. Aside from that, it was kind of like, yeah, you really shouldn't have made like some of the comparisons. It was minor stuff. It was that thing in particular that drove it over the line. Which he admitted he did. He admitted he screwed that up and that it was a bad thing to do. He put out an apology. That's the funny thing. People are acting like he never had to deal with any of that or whatever. He took time away over that. And he actually took the criticism from that and admitted to it. Like, hey, yeah, I shouldn't have done this. I was warned. It's stupid. People really flipped out over that for nothing. She thinks that her experience is bad, and that's like what that's what it's like for everyone with ED. Yeah, she thinks that because her experience was bad, she can't possibly be happy like this, and she needs to be fixing everything, and that's why she's got to be toxic positivity, and she's got to be like hiding behind a mask of happiness. But it's possible that Eugenia is actually just happy. As unfortunate as that would be, because she's obviously still obviously not in a good place. But it's possible she's genuinely happy. In other words, anyone who's skinny like Eugenia does not deserve to be on the net, according to Belle. And that's the thing. She keeps saying that's not what she's trying to say, but by her own argument, that's what she's saying. And she refuses to acknowledge that that is what she's saying by saying that by her actions, she is obviously being pro-Anna. No, but she's not, though. Belle also wants to come across as a super good person who wants to save people from the evils of Anna. Yeah, no. See, that's the thing. She wants to feel like a hero. She wants to feel like a hero now as well. Yet she never says, I hope that Eugenia gets better. She does a couple times, but I don't know about these response videos. I think she does at one point acknowledge that in one of the two. She says something like that. But yeah, it's never like a big focus. It's never about like, we need to help Eugenia. It's always, Eugenia is bad because. And no one has ever rejected the first couple of minutes of Willie Mack's video where Eugenia is being verbally abused. Yeah, no, that they all like acknowledge that happens. They never act like there's any sympathy there. By her own chat. Yep. Oh yeah, I'm not trying to put it on blast. Just the closest thing I think I could think of just from YouTubers taking it personally. She does at the end of the last response, Jody. But that's how hollow that goes. Yeah, exactly. It's barely noticeable. It almost feels like she's doing that like to justify everything she said in the past. It's nice talking to you on your live. Heading off for now. Before I go have a Twitter. Yeah, sure. Here I'll. I cannot type in there. Okay. I gotta type in my browser here. Okay, I think I typed that right. Anyway, it's just Internet Unwind on Twitter. Luckily, nobody anywhere had Internet Unwind on their handle or anything, so I managed to get it. All right, let me see here. Where were we at here? Oh, that actually doesn't look like it. The link didn't work. Screw it. I'm just gonna go to my profile and grab the link. There we go. That should be clickable now. Hope she matches her eyeshadow. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this up so we can get over and I'll do a Twitch stream.
As usually when I'm doing a video, I'm just sitting in a chair talking about things like I normally would. Anytime I do talk about eating disorders, I make sure to add a ton of disclaimers and I make sure to talk about why it's bad. And so, you know, it's very, very obviously clearly not Thinspo, and anything that I do think could be triggering, I always censor. I have this sinking feeling that it's probably not me that was the problem. It was probably this other person's pro-Anna Thinspo content.
Despite the fact that you were talking about pro-Anna and Thinspo and all these other things, and those terms may have been picked up by an automated system more likely than somebody watching your video and then taking it down for a few hours because they were trying to protect Eugenia. That doesn't make any sense. They took it down for a couple of hours and got it back up later that same day because they were trying to protect Eugenia? No, the reality is you went out of your way with disclaimers trying to protect yourself. But because you were talking about that stuff so frequently, a bot picked up terms that are used to describe things in the anorexic, pro, and all that stuff communities. That is the most logical conclusion. You have to leap to the point of conspiracy to think that YouTube is actively suppressing your small channel to save their $50,000 a year for Eugenia Cooney. Not to mention, that $50,000 isn't going to really do a whole lot for them if she dies either, right? So by your own logic, if YouTube is enabling her to die quicker, essentially, then wouldn't they benefit from you actually helping keep her alive longer? Because people are not watching her for being anorexic. It's one of the things that drew her popularity because of her situation. But it's not the reason that people watch her. She actually has a personality and stuff. There's other reasons that people watch her. It's not just because she's anorexic.
The beginning of my video was...
And even if it was just because she was anorexic, your argument would then be more justified, again, that just because... Sorry, let me rephrase that. It would back up the claim that your argument entirely boils down to, well, she's anorexic. Because people are only watching her because she's anorexic. If people are only watching her because she's anorexic, then what are they getting out of her content? Anorexia. But that's not the only reason people are watching her.
Was very, very obviously anti-pro-Anna. And do you really think that the YouTube algorithm is this stupid that they can't detect that?
The amount of thumbnails and videos I've had that got flagged or dinged for nudity that didn't have any nudity in the video at all is insane. Yes, it is definitely that dumb.
Can't see that this content was very obviously not pro-Anna. By that logic, anytime anyone talks about eating disorders online, their videos could also get taken down for being pro-Anna. Why has this only happened with me?
It's only happened with you that you're aware of. Does anyone else remember how many issues the gay community was having with like stuff that was like gay content or whatever? Got it. Thank you. I wanted to ask you something about Twitter. Okay, cool. Thanks for hanging out, Sierra. Yeah, it's just insane.
I don't think Willie genuinely believes that my video was taken down because YouTube's almighty algorithm couldn't tell that my video wasn't actually pro-Anna.
I think Willie is covering for the YouTube bot. I think YouTube is a company that is silencing me, and Willie knows that, but he's lying because it suits his narrative.
I think he's just acting ignorant because he's trying to discredit the proof that I have that YouTube sees this as a problem.
There is less proof and less justification for her argument than the argument that a bot took down her video. It was back up in under 24 hours. What would be the point of YouTube deliberately flagging down her video and then putting it back up 24 hours later? Not even 24 hours later. What would be the point of that, Belle? It doesn't make any sense.
And is doing nothing about it. The only thing that I can possibly think of is that I just don't generate the same.
The bots are still active, by the way. The bots are still automatically flagging things like crazy. They are doing things about it. It has gotten better. It has been refined, and it is an improving system. So she doesn't know what she's talking about. I don't think she's even looked into what the bots do.
Amount of ad revenue that Eugenia does. Eugenia is making YouTube a ton of money, and I'm just not doing that.
YouTube ad revenue is split 55-45 between the creator and Google. That means YouTube is at most making $3,000 or $4,000 a month.
I forgot he makes
from
this
them.
comment.
They're $1 billion company, Belle. It's Google. Google needs Eugenia Cooney to survive. What branch of YouTube is being held up by Eugenia Cooney's paycheck? YouTube doesn't need Eugenia to stay financially afloat.
Of his entire rebuttal video, this is probably the most obtuse statement that he makes. He really tries to frame it like YouTube isn't a billion-dollar corporation that is trying to make money.
What? He said they are a billion-dollar company.
Entire rebuttal.
Google needs Eugenia Cooney $1,000 a month from her. They're $1 billion company, Belle. It's Google. Google needs Eugenia Cooney to survive. They're $1 billion.
Wait.
That means YouTube is at most making $3,000 or $4,000 a month from her. They're $1 billion company, Belle. It's Google. Google needs Eugenia Cooney to survive.
He just acknowledged it's a billion-dollar company and said, you really think that they need Eugenia Cooney to survive with $50,000 if they're a billion-dollar company?
What branch of YouTube is being held up by Eugenia Cooney's paycheck? YouTube doesn't need Eugenia to stay financially afloat.
Of his entire rebuttal video, this is probably the most obtuse statement that he makes. He really tries to frame it like YouTube isn't a billion-dollar corporation that is trying to make money. YouTube is a billion-dollar corporation, and they became a billion-dollar company by making money off of YouTubers.
Yes. But the problem is, she doesn't make enough money to justify this whole conspiracy to cover up everything. Not to mention, if your video was being shut down to silence criticism of Eugenia, then why on earth did no one else get flagged? She made that point, and for a second there, I actually thought, like, oh, yeah, it was just you. Okay, whatever. But no, it actually makes even more sense that it would have been an accident because of how much she focused on like the pro-Ana stuff. Most other people that were talking about her, as far as I can tell, weren't talking about it at that level, like that amount in her videos, right? And then on top of that, if they were going to go to the point of like silencing criticism of Eugenia, then why? Why would she be the only one flagged? It doesn't make any sense. It's just getting more and more dumb and more confusing.
The largest YouTubers on this platform are the ones that are generating them the most money, and so they have incentive to keep them on here. Now, obviously, Eugenia is not the largest YouTuber, but she is one of their larger YouTubers, and obviously, she is generating YouTube a good amount of money. I never said that...
Okay, here's the funny thing. You're familiar with Epic Mealtime, right? You're familiar with Epic Mealtime, right? So what she's saying here is that the actual amount of revenue doesn't matter. She's making them a lot of money. Because she's such a large YouTuber. 6 million subscribers. 62,000 views. 49,000 views. 128,000 views. Let's see how much Epic Mealtime makes a month. $30,000 a year. And this is a channel 4 times the size of Eugenia that uploads once a week. Or more. By your own logic, Belle, they're making next to nothing off of her. But they're making more than Epic Mealtime, right? The point being, channels like Boblax. Let's look at Boblax. Here we go. Here's a prime example. Let's look at Boblax. Let's see what Boblax makes. 42,000. And Boblax has 290,000 subscribers. Boblax makes as much as Eugenia Cooney with a 10th of her subscriber count. Just because she has a large subscriber count and she's like well known doesn't mean she's raking in the dough. Let's actually look. I'm curious. Belle Aubrey. Let's see. What's her channel make? 2.5K. Probably because she demonetizes a lot of her stuff. Holy crap, that bleed. Whoo! Look at that bleed right there. And she deleted a bunch of stuff about a week ago. Well, that's crazy. Why is she deleting stuff, bro? That's nuts. That's pretty crazy, bro. She's bleeding people like crazy. Oh, it's a year. A year. She's earning about 2.5K a year, and Bo Blacks is earning 42K a year max. And then I'm going with the max number here. I'm going with the max number, not the what do you call it? You know, odds are AI will ping that because the channel isn't whitelisted. They need Eugenia Cooney's $50,000 to, or they will have to declare bankruptcy. Also, Jake, it's safe to say that anything of Eugenia's will have been manually reviewed by now, so probably whitelisted. So what will happen when you take her content and put it on other channel? Also true. That is a very good point, Craig. Because of her size and everything, she's got like partner manager and all that. She's verified. She's a full-fledged YouTuber. She's probably whitelisted in a lot of ways. Might not have like super high level like approved status for like premier ads or whatever it's called, the preferred ads or whatever, but she's not like being suppressed or whatever. They're aware of what she does, and she probably has an active person watching her content. Matter of fact, there may even be somebody that watches her content to make sure that there's nothing bad in it, specifically because of her condition and all that.
That Eugenia is the only creator on YouTube who's making them profits. But they do have an incentive to keep the people who are making the money on the platform. And every time they remove someone who is making the money, they're going to take a hit financially. And so they have incentive to not do that.
Belle?
But what we're talking about here, Belle, is scale, right? What we're talking about here is scale. At the scale of being $1 billion company, $50,000 is nothing. That's a drop in a thimble, not even a bucket. That's a drop in a thimble. Like, that's a drop. No, sorry, I had that wrong. It's a drop in an ocean. I downscaled that, but I need to upscale. It's a drop in an ocean. They're a $1 billion company with revenue streams all over the place. Losing $50,000 for them is like me losing 50 cents. Like, that's nothing to that company. Especially if they're risking the person's life. I mean, look at people like Raka Raka. Raka Raka do a bunch of different stunts, right? And they're constantly getting age restricted and age gated because they do stunts that people might want to imitate. But that's more like along the lines of a Jackass thing where it's like, hey, if I do videos like this where like I'm taking risks, but no one's seeing Eugenia's content and going like, she's famous because of anorexia, except for people like Belle Aubrey.
Belle is acting with malicious intent.
Yes, you heard that right. He states here with 100% certainty that I am acting with malicious intent. Willie Mack, the same guy who tried to crucify me because I stated as a fact that Eugenia Cooney's parents were somehow involved, which I shouldn't have done, by the way. I personally believe that her parents are involved to some extent, but I don't think I should have presented that as a fact in my video.
Also true, Craig. Not to mention YouTube's revenue is user data and information. That's worth much more. Yeah, they use a lot of they harvest a lot of data from people, and that's worth a lot more.
Eugenia Cooney's parents were somehow involved, which I shouldn't have done, by the way. I personally believe that
I will give her credit for this, admitting that she shouldn't have like gone into the parents thing.
Her parents are involved to some extent, but I don't think I should have presented that as a fact in my video. But here's Willie Mack stating with 100% factual certainty that I am acting with malicious intent, as if that's something that he has any receipts for. I guess he doesn't need to bring receipts because he's a commentary channel, not a tea channel. I forgot about that. Obviously, this is a lie, but it is also disgusting for him to try to state with certainty that I am acting with malicious intent, something that I am not doing, and I think if you look at my content, it's very obvious that I'm not. But also, we know that without this hyperbole, Willie Mack really doesn't have an argument at the end of the day. There are so many times where people have said, YouTube, do not show me this. I don't want to see it.
Should cut out the part where she showed his clip. Why did she cut out the part where we showed the clip?
Block her content, and YouTube still promotes it. And then it's on the trending page.
Guys, we have to remember that YouTube is...
She cut out the clip where she played... Oh, my word. Okay. We're going to Twitter. We're going to Twitter, boys. Because or actually, it's probably on my TikTok even. Might be easier to find. Let me see. Is it on my TikTok? I think it's on my TikTok. Yeah, it's on my TikTok. It'll be easier to get to on my TikTok. So Willie Mack Show, in his recent video about Belle Aubrey, made a couple of good arguments about like why he thinks she might just be malicious, given the history and the amount of issues. And he presents these and then says he thinks she might be doing things maliciously because she seems to clearly know what she's doing.
Where she just randomly says shit, hoping if she does it confidently enough, people will believe her. And God bless her, it's worked. At what point can we just say it? How many lies? How much fabricated information? How often do we have to catch her omitting critical details to stories before we can just confirm it? Belle is acting with malicious intent. She is not doing this out of stupidity. I'm sure it plays a role, but overall, she knows what she's doing.
But then in Belle's response to Willie, she just has this clip.
And so they have incentive to not do that.
Belle is acting with malicious intent.
Yes, you heard that right. He states here, with
the pure irony of the fact that she had to cut out the whole part where she talks about the reason he thinks she's malicious is because she intentionally is clearly cutting out or leaving out important information. And she cuts that part out to make him seem like he's just blindly labeling her malicious. Did I miss it somewhere? Did she play it and I missed it?
Not doing, and I think if you look at my content, it's very obvious that I'm not. But also, we know that without this hyperbole, Willie Mack for. I guess he doesn't need to bring receipts. I personally right, and every time they remove someone who is making the money, they're going to take a hit financially, and so they have incentive to not do that.
Belle is acting with malicious intent.
Yes,
okay,
you heard
no,
that
she did it. I missed it. I missed it somehow. I was watching it and somehow I missed it. She actually did that. She left it in. My bad. It's so short because she cut all of the context out.
So they have incentive to not
that I
do
completely
that.
missed
Belle is acting with malicious intent.
Yes, you heard that right. He states here, with 100% certainty, that I am acting with malicious intent. Willie Mack, the same guy who tried to crucify me because I stated as a fact that Eugenia Cooney's parents were somehow involved, which I shouldn't have done, by the way. I personally believe that her parents are involved to some extent, but
that's why I missed it, because I was zoning out reading chat while some stuff was playing. And I cut back in right here at this part where she talks about the parents, and then I rewound it.
I don't think I should have presented that as a fact in my video. But here's Willie.
Isn't it funny though? Isn't it funny how she's like, he's saying this with 100%, and like, granted, yeah, I shouldn't have done that either, but he's doing it too. Okay. I don't necessarily agree with him. I think a lot of this is not her being malicious. I think a lot of this is her own insecurities, her own issues with ED and all that, that's just bubbling to the surface, and she's projectile vomiting all over Eugenia.
Max stating with 100% factual certainty that I am acting with malicious intent, as if that's something that he has any receipts for. I guess he doesn't need to bring receipts because he's a commentary channel, not a T channel. I forgot about that. Obviously, this is a lie, but it is also disgusting for him to try to state with certainty that I am acting with malicious intent, something that I am not doing, and I think if you look at my content, it's very obvious that I'm not. But also, we know that without this...
I wouldn't say it's very obvious, because unless you understand how the logic and all that works with somebody with, like, where they're going to, like, people that have a tendency to, like, project on other people and things like that, like, no, it's not necessarily obvious to the layman, like, what that's going to look like. To me, this seems like very obvious, like, her insecurities bubbling up and she projects it onto Eugenia. That seems very obvious to me. It doesn't seem like it's malicious, but to a person that isn't aware of that stuff, like, sure. She flat out admits the criticism is correct, but that he's wrong because he stated the criticism. No, she didn't say it's malicious, but she said that the criticism she did admit earlier in the video that she shouldn't have gone into their parents. Or no, right there. She admitted right there that she shouldn't have gone into the parents. But yeah, exactly. She had to double back on the point to, like, undo it. She's, like, trying to go back and erase the point so that then she could say, yeah, but he wrote this down. Remember when remember this passion and emotion, by the way, when she finishes with Eugenia's better health. Yeah.
Hyperbole, Willie Mac really doesn't have an argument at the end of the day. There are so many times where people have said, YouTube, do not show me this. I don't want to see this. And they block her content, and YouTube still promotes it. And then it's on the trending page.
Guys, we have to remember that YouTube is social media. That means real people uploading themselves to the internet. This is not TV. This is not PBS. There's no focus group making sure this content appeals to everybody. That means it's up to parents to make sure they know what their kid is watching. You wouldn't let your kid run around the streets talking to homeless people unsupervised, so why are you letting them do that online? Eugenia Cooney does not run a daycare. She is not responsible for your kid.
Yes, and here we get to the crux of the disagreement between my stance and Willie's. Now, Willie seems to think that it is the sole responsibility of the parent to micromanage what their child watches. You know,
it's not micromanaging. That's your job as a parent, to take care of your kid, make sure you know what your kid is doing.
How every parent is just watching their child 24/7 and has endless
not
hours
his argument
to make
at all.
sure that their child isn't watching anything that's inappropriate. Now, let's say that your child is watching something and it's like...
I always love it, by the way, how like young people that don't have kids and don't have experience raising kids make these kind of judgment calls and these kind of criticisms. I always love that. I always love it when people like try and take the responsibility of parents off of parents. When they themselves aren't parents and don't understand the responsibilities of being a parent.
Like content that's marketed towards children. And then all of a sudden, the YouTuber starts doing drugs in the middle of it. Now, would you say that's the fault of YouTube or the YouTuber for pushing that content out and for marketing it to children? Or is it the fault of the parents for trusting YouTube and for believing that content that is marketed towards children would be child-friendly? Now, Willie seems to think that it is...
Why would they assume that the content on a website without a rating system is child-friendly? Why would they assume on a website where people can upload any content they want as long as it fits in the TOS? Why would you assume that any content on that platform is child-friendly? There are videos on here where porn stars talk about their careers. There's videos on here about, like, insane stuff, bro. There's videos on here that detail, like, performing surgeries. There's crazy stuff on YouTube. Acting like YouTube actually, it's their responsibility to parent your child for you is absolutely nuts.
Is solely the responsibility of the parent, but he also doesn't seem to acknowledge the fact that not all children have parents who are able to do that. Not all children have parents who are interested in what they're doing and are going to keep them.
I hate to tell you, but yeah, all children that have parents that are able to either lock down access to the router, or they could give them exclusive access to just kids, YouTube Kids. Why is it that none of these people ever talk about the fact that YouTube Kids exists for kids? Yes, it is pure whataboutism. She's entirely trying to speculate that a whole bunch of people on the internet are allegedly, potentially, one day going to be victims of something that didn't happen and may not happen. But it's YouTube's fault because the parents aren't responsible. She's disingenuous because she'll state verbatim what the point is, and then she'll spin the meaning to fit her narrative. Yeah. She knows what the actual problem is and can state it. Yep. She can't state it. She cannot actually... The problem is that it's a personal problem. It's a personal problem that she has. Like, here's the thing, right? I'm not usually one for the argument of, like, if you want to watch something, if you don't like it, watch something else. If you don't like the content, watch something else. This is a situation where that is the most valid I've ever seen it. If you don't like Eugenia Cooney's content, don't watch Eugenia Cooney's content.
Safe. Do those children just not deserve to be safe on the internet because their parents don't care? What about all the children out there who don't have parents that are going to sit and micromanage everything that they watch? What about the children who have
She's
parents
never heard of parental
who
controls,
work
apparently.
full-time jobs or don't care or don't know about the internet?
Okay, wait. The parents that work full-time jobs. Does she think people are just plopping their kids down in front of the TV, turning on YouTube, and then leaving all day for their full-time job and then coming back to their 10-year-old? All right, little Timmy. Here's your bowl of snacks. This will last you the 8 hours I'm at work and the half-hour drive there, half-hour drive back, okay? So just you sit here and watch your little, YouTube sing-along content for the next 8 hours. I'll be back to change your diaper in 10 hours, okay? Bye-bye. Is that what she thinks is going on? Because that's more unhinged than what's actually going on and what Willie's argument is. She's claiming the potential victims for a disease that she can't prove can be obtained through watching a sufferer of it. Yeah, it's insane. I never let my kid on this platform unsupervised ever. I wouldn't even let my siblings or any kid I was babysitting on this app unsupervised. It's insane, these YouTube streets. Paris, we need to get rid of rock and rap as well. I mean, look, here's the thing, right? I have consciously turned on YouTube, like, playlists, but I'm like, okay, what's in this playlist? All right, cool. All this stuff in this playlist looks okay. I'll let it play. If something bad was in the playlist, I'm like, okay, report that. Not watching it anymore. Not letting that on there anymore. Or I'd make a playlist of videos for him to watch that I've already pre-screened. There's a bunch of ways you can do this. Using the kids app is the easiest way to do it. Yeah, right? We need to get rid of rock and rap as well, because those are going to influence kids to get into drugs and gang violence and sex. We don't want kids getting into the sex. Honestly, now I'm starting to think she is the one with abusive parents now.
Or just assume that YouTube is safe.
Teddy.
Like, is it the fault of the
internet,
or just assume that YouTube is safe? Like,
let's listen to that again.
Everything that they watch. What about the children who have parents who work full-time jobs or don't care or don't know about the internet or just assume that YouTube is safe?
That's because they're ignorant, stupid people. The internet is a dangerous place. The internet is like a mall, but where meth heads hang out.
Like, is it the fault of the children? Because the children are the ones that are going to suffer, not the parents. So, like, what? We just don't care about them? Just, like, screw them? There's nothing we can do about them? That's the best solution you have? No.
You know, here's the funny thing. I might think she maybe had some level of an argument if it wasn't for the fact that a kid can't go out and buy their own iPhone. I can't go out and buy their own device to view these things on. So the parents have to give access to their kids to these devices, or they go see it at a friend's house, and their friend went through that process. Why do I have to lie malls like that?
I think that that's why TOS exists. It's to protect children and to add another barrier to keep children safe on the internet.
Why does she think TOS is just about kids?
Because whether or not you like it, children are always going to use it. This creator also tried to use the point that one time another YouTuber stayed with Eugenia for a couple days.
Again, it was a week, but whatever.
As if this is proof positive that there cannot be any abuse going on in that house.
Of course my video doesn't prove that, but is literally the only witness testimony giving any specifics about Eugenia's home life.
The fact that it's the only witness testimony about what's going on in that household doesn't make it any less ridiculous that you tried to use this as evidence that everything going on in there is a-okay.
That's not what he said. He said that the only witness testimony is that there's nothing like extreme that you're talking about happening. Matter of fact, it contradicts it. She was overfeeding the people that were there. Like, she's again changing his point to make her narrative, like to suit her narrative. His point was actually this, despite saying this. He didn't say this proves that you're wrong about everything. He never said that. He's like, this would indicate that things are more normal than she's acting like.
I'm gonna repeat this one last time. I don't have any hatred or malice or ill intent towards Eugenia Cooney at all. Despite what Willie Mack and other creators are trying to make it seem like, I actually don't hate her and I want to see her get better. You know, I don't have 100% malevolent intentions or whatever it was he said in his video. I don't know why I have to keep repeating that, but also...
Because, you try really hard to go after somebody with an eating disorder that you also have over what appears to be projections. Which comes off as malicious.
So, just because these people are trying to spread this false narrative, that doesn't mean that I'm going to allow myself to be silenced. I'm not going to stop talking about this just to disprove Willie Mack or anyone else out there. Eugenia is a creator who is doing a lot of harm with her platform. And just like...
I still fail to see where a lot of harm comparatively to other creators of her size and influence has actually been substantiated in any way, shape, or form. She continues to make these kind of arguments. Like, almost every claim has been at some level... I bit my cheek. Almost every claim by Willie or anybody else has been substantiated at some point, or at least the reason for this logical conclusion has been established. But almost everything she says is like because these mannerisms are mannerisms of somebody with these issues. This is proof that she's causing problems. She doesn't show evidence of people like being victims of anorexia and saying that, oh, the thing that got me into anorexia was Eugenia Cooney. Like, she hasn't pointed to any of that stuff. All we know is about that one unhinged tweet where she blamed Eugenia Cooney and like called her like a horrible person and stuff because of let me actually see if I can switch to one of my alts here. Wait, is this? That's not her. What? Was it an underscore? There it is. Okay. I'm just gonna look up Cooney. Photos. I wonder if she deleted it. There was a video. Okay, so Matt Pitt. I'll just go back to my main for. I'll just go back to my main for this. P Cloud 76. All right, it's not there. I don't know where it's at. But there was a tweet that she made like after a friend of hers got hospitalized for eating disorder. And she was blaming Eugenia Cooney because she claims that Eugenia Cooney was the person that they said triggered her. So supposedly both Belle and this other person have been triggered by Eugenia's content. But it's weird that she never points to any other examples and never points to herself or her friend as examples. And the tweet that she sent to Eugenia was very demonizing. I wish I had the tweet, but I can't find it right now. But it's been shown on a couple different people's streams, like tipsters and stuff like that, I believe. So she flat out admitted she doesn't plan on stopping what she's been doing. She's going to continue Eugenia videos. I don't think she is now, but that's what she said. Yeah, on God, her proof argument, stating she has proof in videos and on Twitter, but not sharing it. We take her word if she showed anything. Yeah, anything credible we would take, but nothing. Give Belle a Razzie for the worst performance pretending to care about someone.
I would call out any other creator who is doing the same thing. I don't think we should walk on eggshells with Eugenia or give her a pass just because she is struggling with a mental illness.
But by your own logic, we have to walk on eggshells with you before you start like labeling people and trying to get people banned from the internet. So I don't know.
It's not her fault and she doesn't deserve hate, but she also deserves to be called out and she deserves to be held accountable when she is hurting people with her platform, which is what she's doing. So that's all I'm going to do for this video because honestly, I'm just getting really tired of all of this. I know I said I wasn't going to respond when I made my first video, but when I saw the last video, and I saw the thumbnail, I just thought it was so manipulative that I felt like I had to do one last response video. So I decided to get all of my responses in order and just put it in one video. So you can go and watch this one, you can go and watch the other one. Other than that, I'm done. I'm done talking about it. This is my final response.
Okay. So she said that was her final response and then she was going to do another one. Now, let's see. Nope. I need to go to my Twitch video page, video producer, because earlier today, a friend of mine let us know something that was very interesting in contrast to this whole situation. And she said I was perfectly fine to show this on stream. So let's go ahead and listen to this. About like robots and stuff with
his low-in video was actually really good in my opinion.
Oh, you brought it's somewhere in here. Fine. I'll interrupt what I'm doing right now because you can't wait 30 seconds, Wes. Buddy. Where is it? You're welcome. Here we go. What?
It's not talking about Eugenia Cooney. It's the constant comparisons to Nikocavo Avocado and then showing off his content.
Yeah, he's right.
Oh, as somebody with a binge eating disorder, Nikocavo was one of my triggers. So
Right, you're actually proof of what they're saying, though.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
like
Eugenie's
Belle Aubrey and
fantastic.
everybody, their argument is like, yeah, but people don't get triggered by Nikocado Avocado because he's not attractive. So, you know,
Unfortunately, volume's all the way up.
No, I very much get triggered by.
All right, here I'll
yeah, triggered by Nikocado. Right, you're actually proof of what they're saying, though.
Yeah.
I don't have anything. All right, so basically what she said that was Lady Zubat. She said she has a history with a binge eating problem. And she is triggered by Nikocado Avocado. Now, Belle's argument is that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen with Nikocado Avocado because he's not physically attractive. He's not the ideal body type. He's not skinny, so no one wants to look like him. Except we actually know someone who actually does deal with that. Like, I didn't bother even looking to see because I know that it's true, right? But on top of that, just a casual conversation, somebody I know deals with that. By her own logic, Nikocado Avocado is arguably more dangerous because he actively promotes that lifestyle. Bottom line, point blank, there is no way around it. It is entirely because she has a bias and a personal history with this eating disorder that has led her to be this, honestly, I'm going to use her own word, vitriolic towards Eugenia over things that are way blown out of proportion. There's no way around it. That's just the case. Anyway, it's been almost 3 hours. I am still going to be streaming, but I am going to move over to Twitch, and I will probably hop in VC, and if anybody wants to chat, I'll hang out in there. So, I think that's it. I think that's it for the stuff I want to cover tonight. I don't really have a whole lot else to cover because that's the situation has kind of died now, and I don't think it's going to be coming back to life anytime soon. So. Let's go ahead and twitch.tv/internet unwind. Yeah, and then I'm just gonna play Call of Duty or something for a bit. I'm just gonna play Call of Duty or something for a bit and hang out and chat. So, if anybody wants to come over and hang out on Twitch, there's the link. Thanks for hanging out.